can be free. I take the weight on my shoulders. As I feel the sky come down on me. And I can't hold it much longer. Gonna let go so I can be free. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Happy LCS, people. FT Live, Braun, Pierzynski, Kratz, on Stadium. Jace Peterson going to talk to us in about 15 minutes. Hour number 2, we'll talk to prospect Victor Scott, who's in the Arizona Fall League, and Max Muncy about the Dodgers. It's not a disaster. It was kind of expected with how the pitching went, but curious to get his take because he's been really good this year, too. I mean, he's been very straightforward with us. It's been one of our better interviews, so we'll see what he says. Very curious. You guys around tonight?
For a game?
Yeah, or 2?
Or for after games?
After games, yes.
After games. I'm
Exactly.
definitely going to be around.
Which one?
Both.
Both. There you go. We're going to do a little post-game action on the LCS. ALCS, obviously, Rangers and Astros, and then NLCS, the Phillies and the Diamondbacks. So we'll get to that bonanza. But let's charge the damn mound. Let's get to Texas taking game 1 of the ALCS. You know, I miss games like this where starters actually get to pitch.
The team that has the best starting pitching usually wins every series. It's simple. I know people want to change it. I know people want to make it what they want to make it. But the team with the best starting pitching through a series usually wins almost every time. So I know bullpens are important. I know this and that is important. But if you have the best starting pitcher and the best starting pitching staff, you usually win a series.
Yeah, so you're saying bullpenning's not the move?
It hasn't worked out yet, has it?
Has a team that's bullpenned really hard won a World Series?
Not that I can remember.
The hardest I can remember was the Royals in 15.
But were they bullpenning?
No, you didn't bullpen.
Their starters still pitch. I mean, they had a very consistent 7, 8, 9, and sometimes that's
6, 7, 8, 9.
6, 7, 8, 9. But I don't know if you would call that bullpenning. It's not like they were like, "Hey, let's do a different dude every inning," or "Hey, let's have a guy,
let's have an
2
opener.
innings." Right?
Let's have an opener, and our starter only goes 3 innings, and then we have to piece it together. That hasn't worked yet, I don't think.
No, not in the 7-game series. It just runs out. You're constantly facing, I don't care how nasty guys are, you're constantly facing the exact same pitch. And AJ can tell you, if you let's say you can't hit a slider. Let's say this pitcher has this slider that is so nasty. You mimic that pitch on a machine, and you're like, first 10 times you're swinging at it. I can't hit it. This isn't real. This isn't real. Eventually, big league hitters, even bad big league hitters, can figure it out if you always are saying the same pitch in the same location. So that's why, I don't even think Verlander had his best stuff last night, but him giving them 6 innings is huge. Yes, they lost, but they didn't score any runs either. So the more your starting pitching can throw deeper into games, and some starting pitchers, 5 innings is as deep as it'll go. That's fine. But bullpenning in the sense, the way that you guys are talking about it, I don't think it's feasible. That's why I really think a guy like Andrew Heaney could come in to play in this series big time. Left-handed, throws curveballs. Astros struggle with curveballs, and he can give you length in the sense of like 1 time through the order, whatever that is. That might not be 3 innings, but it might be 2+ innings going 1 time through the order.
Is Jordan Montgomery taking you out to dinner this offseason, Kratz? Because he's going to have some extra cash, like a lot. Many millions of dollars are being made.
He's married
by
now.
Monty.
He's married now. He doesn't hang out anymore.
That sucks.
Yeah.
So are you, and you hang out.
Yeah, but my wife loves it when I hang out.
6 in the 3rd shutout, 5 hits, a walk, 6 strikeouts. Most impressively, he is Yordan Alvarez's kryptonite.
We made great pitches on Yordan.
Right, so he's his kryptonite.
He pitched him kind of how you would want to pitch him, how most teams want to pitch him, but they don't have the ability to pitch him, meaning heaters in. And the one thing about lefties that as a left-handed hitter, they don't throw balls. Not a lot of lefties throw balls into a lefty. If I face lefties and they just stayed away, it was like, okay, I can hit this guy. But the ones that gave me trouble were like back in the day was Mark Mulder, because he would sink it in on your hands and you're like, oh gosh, that's not really a pitch I'm used to seeing, and I don't normally handle it very well. But if you notice, Monty went in, sinkers in, up and in, sinkers in, sinkers in. And then he went to the curveball, right? But he got him so conscious inside and so sped up that it made him flail at those curveballs. It was a great job by Jonah Heim. It was a great job by Jordan Montgomery. And listen, there was the biggest at-bat. There was two huge at-bats in that game for the Astros. One was where he punched out Alvarez. I think it was first and second in the third or fourth inning, first and second or second and third, whatever it was. And then
I think bottom three.
In bottom three. And then the Maldonado at-bat in bottom four where he punched him out with the bases loaded, right? I thought because Dubon got the hit, right, and they couldn't score the guy from second because it was a one-hopper right to the left fielder. Gary Pettis, third base coach, had to hold him. Maldonado comes up with the bases loaded and couldn't score, and then they really never had another chance after that.
Well, Altuve at least got on, and then you got to hit the bag when you're going back.
Yeah, but
right?
I'll say this: I thought it wasn't explained very well last night. The rule. What Altuve did was he got to the base, okay, and when you get to the base, usually what you do is you put your foot on the base and leave it there, right? And then that way, if you like, kind of what happened to Bryce the other day, if you put your foot on the base, you leave it there, and then that way, either way you can go either way and not have to reestablish. But he put his foot on the base, and then when he went to step, he stepped towards third. So he probably thought, man, I don't have to retouch because I was touching the base. But if you take that step towards third, you still have to retouch, even though this foot was on the base. So he kind of went, and then he went back. Whereas if you're here and you have your foot on the base and then you go directly back, you don't have to retouch. But because he kind of took that one step to third, then he had to retouch, and he didn't. And it was great. You could see Simeon right away going, he didn't retouch. It was a great job by Simeon noticing it. But that's something that you're taught as a player to look for. Guys missing bases, stuff like that.
That is wild to me. I mean, there's so much going on, and Marcus Semion's like, Altuve, I'm looking at your feet. You didn't get there.
Kratz, I don't know about, but I used to watch guys take round first. I used to watch everything. Like you'd see the ball and you'd watch him go around first. And you'd
just
be like,
automatically
did he touch first?
Yeah. But how often does that actually happen?
Very rarely, but it's happened. It happened last night.
It's a habit. Like how much energy did it take AJ to watch somebody around first base and see? Not much. But you see the guys who are in the game and you're constant, like there's just checklists. And Josh Young actually was the first one I saw pointing at it. In the slow motion, you see Simeon turning around and pointing at it. So I don't know if Josh Young was saying something or what was happening, but you see Josh Young. So there's more than just Simeon watching. Everybody's watching. A good bench coach watches that. There's so many people watching that play, and it was definitely a brain fart, I think, by Altuve because of stepping up. If he had even stepped over, like AJ had said, I think his right foot went towards went towards third base. If he had kept his left foot on and just kind of like pivoted around and gone, he would have been totally fine and gone back. But it was and as soon as they reversed the call, they showed Altuve's face and he was just like so embarrassed. But
he knew it right away. Altuve knew. And the thing is you're taught as a base runner, just retouch it automatically. Just to be safe. Like just if you go anywhere close to it, just if on your way back, just automatically retouch. Mm-hmm. Because now you used to be able to get away with it because there was no replay. But now there's so many, especially in the LCS and the World Series, there's so many cameras. There's a million cameras like staring on every person. So there's no way that they're not going to see that. The umpire almost blocked it. The best angle, the umpire.
View.
The umpire was like right there, and you're like, crap.
Cameras.
The other thing too, like AJ talking about always watching the base. As many games as we play and watch, if you pay attention to the game, something just looks different. Like the timing of it looks different. People think like, wow, how can you totally see like the distance, the difference in him missing it or not missing it? There's just like a timing aspect to plays. And when he makes that round right there, naturally you think, okay, even in your periphery, you're seeing the ball, but you're also kind of seeing where he's at and seeing if he retouched. It's just such a good baseball play by the Rangers. And I wouldn't say they stole one last night. Like, this team is built to win these games, and they've been winning these games. So I had them winning last night, and I just thought the Astros were going to score some runs.
No, they were the better team last night. Also, by the way, they were not getting fooled by Verlander. I mean, he pitched, I don't know if you'd call it
Not early.
a stuff,
Not
but
early.
he barely got any
better.
whiffs. I know he got better, which
Yes.
is often the case with him, but he still wasn't getting
guy.
swing and miss.
But he's really a two-pitch guy now, and his velocity's down. He's not a swing and miss guy anymore. Like, if you look at him even during the regular season, he wasn't a huge swing and miss guy.
Yeah, his Ks were down this year.
His Ks were down. His velo's down. I mean, he was like 93, sitting at 93, where normally he's been 95, 96. His slider's still good, but he's more of almost like a weak contact guy now, which, listen, he gave up 2 runs. It wasn't like he went out and got whacked.
No, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, he gave up 2 runs.
In some scenarios, he could have gotten hit pretty good.
Yeah. But, I mean, listen. I mean, against the Twins, he kind of did the same thing. He couldn't find it early, and he got better as the game went on. Honestly, he made one mistake. It was the one to Tavares that he hit for the home run. But the one Carter, hustle double, and then he kind of jammed Deona Heim, and he threw it out there to center, right? Okay, fine. 1-0. We're the Astros. We should be able to score 1 run, right? And then he made one mistake to Tavares. And after that, that was really it. It wasn't like they got crushed 22-0. I mean, it was literally two hits that killed them.
Yeah, that's the hanging slider to Tavares. But no, I mean, we say this all the time. You got to score in the playoffs. I mean, if you're Houston, you're not expecting, obviously, to be shut out, let alone they score 3 runs in this game, they win the game. And I thought the inning where there could have been damage was Aroldis Chapman coming in as a total wild card because you don't know where the ball's going half the time. Neither does he. He's had a lot of fun in that park. That was fun for me. The park was like, boo, wait. Yeah, actually, yeah, we love this guy. We've had great moments with him. You know, like they were like so programmed to boo everyone, but then they were like, wait, actually, I want to cheer for this guy because I want Aroldis Chapman in the game. That was your time. I mean,
well, Bregman hit a ball to the fence. The guy jumped and caught.
Right.
I mean, and then they got the double play. I mean, that was the game. That was their. I mean, when Bregman hit that ball, it was just like, oh shit, there we go, 2-2. Astros will figure out a way to win this because their bullpen's better. But Carter made the catch. Maybe it's the Astros' year. I mean, the Rangers' year. Sorry. Maybe it's the Rangers' year this year.
Well, and defense helps. I mean, we saw nice defensive plays on both sides. And lastly, you know what helps? When you do shit. To me, I say it every freaking year. All of these teams did stuff. The Rangers did everything. I mean, they bought so many players that freaking Jacob deGrom's sitting on their IL and Jordan Montgomery's the ace because they picked him up mid-season. The Astros have Justin Verlander for the next couple years on a massive discount. That makes a huge difference to me. The Diamondbacks have Sewald that extended their bullpen, makes them much better. Tommy Pham made them much better. Obviously, the Phillies are probably the team that did the least, quote, the least at the deadline, but they've been doing as much as any team in baseball over the past couple of years. That matters. I think rarely do you see a team in these situations that's like, yeah, we just tanked and we're just going to build from within and basically do nothing. That's what I mean. I keep picking on a team like the Orioles, but I'm like, if that's how they operate the next few years, good luck. You need to have supplements to what you're doing.
Remember when the Yankees said Jordan Montgomery couldn't pitch in the playoffs?
How'd that go?
Good job, guys.
Bad
good job, Yankees.
Evaluating.
I mean, good job.
He's available in free agency after this year.
Yeah. How fun would that be for him? And also, we know, I mean, we can get into it with him next time we talk to him, but he was fucking pissed that he was
Of course
traded.
he was.
He was pissed about being traded, about how he was looked at within the organization. And, I mean, Kratz, you probably know this better than I could say. I think he's had a chip on his shoulder since that trade.
You know what? I think he's going to say all the right things, but I also saw how he was treated when he was with the Yankees. And I'm not saying he was treated poorly. I'm saying the guys they loved ahead of him were completely different pitchers. Obviously, Luis Severino, legit. Garrett Cole, legit. Nestor Cortez was an all-star. I'm trying to think who else they had before they, but they went and got a guy like Frankie Montas instead of saying, all right, Monty, here's the ball. We've seen you forever. And I don't know if the peripheries or how everything, goes on trades like that. They needed a center fielder. So they got Harrison Bader, who was coming off an injury. So it was like, you can say they liked him, but if you don't think a guy's going to make your roster, that to me gives you quality innings every year, then hopefully, it doesn't pan out like this. For most teams, it doesn't pan out like this. I don't think this is necessarily, a chip on his shoulder. I just think it's a guy that has a talent of throwing the ball downhill. Everything is really downhill. And that's why I thought maybe that Jordan matchup might be tough. But until he started throwing, he threw like 2 or 3 fastballs in so well that it just opened up that curveball, which Jordan's never going to be able to touch. He could tell him it's coming, and he's not going to be able to hit it. But Monty he has set himself unbelievable year, career year, and now to do what he's done in the playoffs so far. I saw a side-by-side of Bruce Bochy's Madison Bumgarner in 2010 and Jordan Montgomery this year. For the first 3 starts, almost identical in the postseason. From 2010 Bumgarner to 2023 Jordan Montgomery. It is crazy. 2-0. Monty has like 13 or 14 strikeouts, and Bumgarner had 17. Same amount of walks, almost the same amount of on-base percentage from teams. Like, it was some crazy stats. And to think about where Bumgarner ended up going then in free agency, it's some good cheese coming.
My thing is, I don't know how much you guys watched the show, but I just did the Astros and the Twins series, right? They were under 500 in the regular season at home. The Astros were, which is unbelievable. And then they made all these big changes like to the batter's eye because they couldn't see left-handed pitchers. And we talked about it in the DS, and they hit on it in the post game and a little bit, I think, in the pregame on Fox. But it was weird because we hit on all this stuff. Like, they didn't play well in the home. They like moved the batter's eye. We showed a picture of it where it was, and then how they kept painting it like farther and farther and farther over because they said they couldn't see. Man, that place is a good place to hit. It was a great place to see. And they always had like an excuse like, oh, we can't see because of they put like a Budweiser red, and they're like, oh, we can't see. And so they made it green and farther and farther and farther. But I'm just like, man, y'all got a lot of excuses for a team that won the division and has always been unbelievable at home.
Also, why are you making any changes when you just won the World Series?
They changed. I mean, I'm telling you, like,
you shouldn't
I don't know if
I
don't think I still have the picture. But we
anything.
showed the picture during the DS of how much they had moved the batter's eye over. It was like crazy. It was like almost like the old Fenway thing where they had the people in center field, and then during the day games they put the mesh over in center field. It was weird.
Okay, so let's ask someone in their division about it. Jace Peterson is going to join us. He played some ball games, I would think, in Houston. And we'll get his take on how the A's looked at the Astros during the year. And obviously we'll talk to him about life now.
But yes, I do believe you should ask a question. Now, a lot of times fans will say, well, that's a stupid question. The question to me is irrelevant. The answer is what matters. And if the stupid question gets a good answer, it's a win, in my view. Because what we're trying to do is serve the audience and get the players talking. And that's the goal here. And I know it looked kind of uncomfortable last night for Matt, who I don't know at all. But at the same time, when I interview Nick, sometimes that happens. It doesn't really matter.
The reason that we have this system is for the fans. The fans are the reason that professional sports is such a lucrative business. It's the fact that people care about this and they want to know what it looks like in there. It's those scenes of loss, of victory that fans want to understand. And I said, like, the reason that how much it hurt Clayton Kershaw to fall short is that we were in there describing what he looked like. And then the reason that how happy he was when the Dodgers won is that we had explained to you how hard it was for him. The reason that about Mark McGwire and Andro is that we were in there. The reason there are so many moments, and I even mentioned that, like, the reason that that Chan-Ho Park got lit up in 2010 because he had, quote, a lot of diarrhea. That's because we're in there. It's not all like important, earth-shattering stuff, but given that this is an industry that exists because of fans, I think fans deserve to get a sense of who these people are and what makes these games happen. And that's how they find out, is that this ecosystem gives them access to players through us.
And now back to foul territory.
Big one for the Diamondbacks tonight. Let's start the NLCS, Phillies and Arizona. Jace Peterson joining us right now. Jace, I know not on the roster for this round, but still, you're around a team that's been the least likely, according to prognosticators, to be in this spot. How fun has it been, man?
It's been a blast, man. This team is, last year I remember talking to Yelich towards the end of the year. We ended with Arizona. They came to us and they actually swept us. I remember saying this team's really, really talented. The way they play the game. Obviously, I think the trades that they made, especially in the bullpen, to kind of shore those things up. It's a pretty special team to watch, just the way they play. Everybody's fast. I think that's the main thing with our game is just continuing to put pressure on teams. And it's a deep lineup. Everybody in that lineup is giving you good at bats, quality at bats. And then once you got horses like Merrill and Gallen at the top, man, it's tough to beat.
Did you hold on before we get into it? As we show all these homers off my guy Lance, poor guy. Jace, did you jump in the pool?
Of course. We got to do it twice so far, so it's been fun. It's I need to make it a little bit deeper. We had a couple close calls. Some of the older coaches jumped in and we were worried about them hitting their head on those steps, so it was close. But it's been a blast jumping in the pool.
Did you cannonball or what'd you do?
When we first made it, I did a cannonball. The last one we just kind of all jumped in, a bunch of us. Just no belly flop. Next time we'll save that. Corbin right there, obviously doing his thing with the phone in his hand. It's pretty special.
With the phone in his hand. How is that phone? How many guys lost phones, do you think?
Oh, I would say Corbin for sure. Other than that, I'm really not even sure. I left mine in the clubhouse.
It's smart. Well, because, you play a game, you go into the clubhouse, you have a few beverages, and then you start running out to the pool. You might forget that your phone is on you.
Without a doubt. Or you just so rich you don't care. One of the two.
That's smart. At least I taught Jay something to get rid of his phone before he jumps in a pool. I mean, taught him something back when he was a rookie.
That's a flex. Are you rich enough, Jace, to jump in the pool with your phone?
If you're in the big leagues, you're probably rich enough to jump in the pool with one phone, I would think.
Okay.
Especially nowadays. Minimum.
So don't
grade.
jump in with both?
Don't do it more than once. Maybe once, twice a year. That's it. Not both phones.
You got to get long-term deals, not just your 2-year deals.
That's right.
Corbin definitely can afford it.
Corbin's
no question.
Yeah.
No question.
Is it okay if another team jumps in your pool?
You don't want that happening. No, you don't.
I'm saying, but though, if they do, is that bad?
I mean, yeah, I would think that's probably not the best look. If I'm on another team and was against Arizona and clinched, I don't know if I'd be in the pool. But then again, I guess if there's some history there and other stuff has gone on behind the scenes, then maybe it's a way to get back at a team. But yeah, that's not for me.
You're such a liar. If you were on the Oakland A's still and you guys somehow beat the Diamondbacks in like the World Series, you're asked to be the first one running down there jumping in the pool. Because I would have taught you that too.
Possible.
World Series possible.
Will the Phillies do it?
Yeah.
Remember a couple years ago though, the Dodgers did it and there was a brouhaha. I was like, what are they doing? I know in 2014 with the Cardinals, we clinched in Arizona and the first thing they said was like, you guys do not go in that pool. They were like,
Who said that?
The Cardinals, the Diamondbacks, the MLB, everybody. We were like, okay, we won't go in the pool. But that was like,
listen, AJ?
Yeah, I'm shocked. What? What's wrong with you?
Wow, that was man, some people change, I guess. Good for you.
Well, here's the thing though. I mean, think about it. Like I didn't want to cause I was like the 27th guy on a 26-man roster, so I didn't want to cause too many problems.
I can feel that. Feel that.
But this is what I kind of want to ask Jace. As a guy now, listen, you're a veteran. I mean, I can't believe I'm calling you that, but it's kind of funny.
I know.
But okay, I've been through it. In 2014, when I was with the Cardinals, we won the division. First round, we played the Dodgers. I wasn't on the roster. You get the phone call from Torey Lovello or Mike Hazen, whoever called you. First of all, I know what I felt like. What was it like? And obviously it sucks, and I'm sorry to hear that. But then I was put on the roster for the LCS, so. What's your mindset like, and how does that phone call go? And if you don't want to tell us too much, I also get that.
No, I mean, for me, it is what it is. I know I'm still a big part of this team, and I can still do my job to keep the boys ready. I'm here for the boys, and I'm here to win. So whatever I need to do, and as you both know, things in this game change quick. So for me, it's all about staying ready and doing what I can, preparing each day as if I was still playing and active. But for me, that's really my mindset. Just continue to be there for the boys, do what I can from the dugout, support them, be a good teammate, and try to get these wins here in Philly. It's going to be a fun series. Everybody keeps talking about the fans, and obviously we know that this is a hostile environment. But at the end of the day, we're ready to go play and go strap it on wherever we're at.
Talk about what you actually need to do to stay ready, because I spent more playoffs not active than active, and people are like, well, you didn't do anything. And for me, I felt like I was doing so much all the time, because it's like you could get thrust into a game, somebody goes down tonight, and you're playing tomorrow night in Philly.
Right. And you know what goes on in the clubhouse. There's a lot of stuff just morale-wise, just talking guys, boosting guys up, keeping guys in the fight. That kind of stuff behind scenes people don't really get to see. So that's something that is always fun for me. I enjoy that part of it, just continue to be there for my guys. But as far as preparation stuff, it's more cage work. You're continuing to hit, continue to see the velo machine, stuff like that. Obviously, you're out there doing your ground balls. You still do all your same prep work, continuing to do all that and stay on top of that. And the hardest thing is just kind of stay in the rhythm of the game with pitching. Not seeing live pitching is tough. Fortunately, when we do have those off days, we're able to see those guys that need to throw for us and get some live at bats. So that always helps. But my mindset is kind of right there, man. Just continue to do what I can to stay ready. And if something changes, then I'll be ready.
Yeah. So you probably knew when you signed with the A's that you weren't making the playoffs. Not trying to throw shade on that, but there's leadership things that you brought to the team. Did the Diamondbacks reach out in the offseason? Like, did you have any idea like this would be a team that possibly could have signed you before? Or was it like when they traded for you, you were like, oh, okay.
Yeah, we had some contact with them in the offseason via my agent. We had teams that were interested. They were one of them. But for me, the 2-year deal was a separator, obviously, over there in Oakland, which, I enjoyed my time there. I had a great group of guys, built some great relationships, and enjoyed it. But to be able for them to trade me over here to a contender and somebody that's done what this team's done and doing what this team's doing, it's been fun, and it's been a special second half for sure.
While we're on that topic, just for a moment, because we were talking about it in the last seg, do you notice the batting eye any differently when you were in Houston? Did you have games, I'm sure, in Houston before you were traded over?
We went there for one series this year when I was with them, and honestly, I didn't really notice a huge difference. But again, I've only went to Houston one other time before that, so I've been to Houston twice now, and I really didn't even notice a difference. So I really can't help you there. I was only able to make one trip there this year.
That's fine. Could just be excuses at times, which are created, especially in the playoffs.
I just don't know how. Like the Diamondbacks have 5 days off, and the Phillies are going to have 4 days off. Like who's going to complain more about days off? I mean, the Rangers won with 5 days off, and the Astros had 4 days, and the Rangers won. So now, Jace, I hope you guys didn't rest up too much for this series against Philly, because you got an extra day's rest. I hope you guys didn't rest too much.
We stayed on our kind of doing our same routines. We did a little inter squad on that first day, and then after that, we did our regular workout days where it's kind of ground balls, defense get what you need, hitters get what you need, pitchers that need to throw, you can get some live at bats, and then DP. So, it is what it is. Whether you're rested up or not, you got to go and strap it on and play these games and get these wins. So for us, we're not really looking into that at all. We're focused on just showing up, no matter how much time we have off, or if we don't have any time off, we're ready to show up and strap it on and play.
Yeah, so no excuses. So all these inter squads, and lives, did you hit any dingers against your teammates?
No dingers. I had some barrels, but no dingers. There was a couple dingers. Pavin got him a dinger. Who else? Somebody else hit a dinger. I think Emmanuel got him a home run. So them two hit some homers. But it's a really good team, man. It's been fun and exciting. And I think people that haven't got to watch the Diamondbacks are going to kind of watch this series. And obviously we know the Phillies are a really talented team. They're very similar as far as that. I feel like their bullpen's one of the best in the game. I think our bullpen's pretty underrated, and people are starting to figure out exactly what we got back there, especially on that back end. But obviously they got Wheeler and Nola, and then we got Merrill and we got Gallen. So I feel like pretty evenly matched there. We got some good pitchers going to go at it, and it's going to be an exciting series. And I think guys are going to get to kind of see this Diamondback lineup kind of really, really sneaky lineup, man. A lot of guys, I don't even know if it's sneaky, a lot of guys who are really talented, good at bats. we could pop you for some homers, and we can hit some extra base hits, and we run the bases better than anyone. So it's going to be an exciting series.
I know that we're locked into your own series in the NLDS, but you smartly kept your phone, so you probably were able to at least catch a highlight of Bryce Harper hitting a couple homers and staring down Orlando Arcia. What did you think of that on the field? And if you think it's, good for the game because it brings attention and storylines, and how that spilled into the Braves saying that Arcia yelling out something that wasn't a personal attack or anything, kind of just fun trash talk, turned into a conversation about media access in the clubhouse.
Yeah, to be honest, I really wasn't too worried about any of that. Really wasn't focused on any of that. But I know those guys sitting next to you, they know what goes on in clubhouses, and they hear there's stuff that's trash talk said all the time. And I think it's unfortunate for all of them involved. I don't think it was probably meant as a joke, just like most things are. But media gets things, and things get sent out, and things get taken out of context. But it is what it is, and however Bryce wanted to handle it and Arcia wanted to handle it, that's on them. That ain't my business. But I didn't really pay any attention to it. But I know that there's things said in the clubhouse all the time that people could take out of context.
That wasn't out of context, Jace. Come on, man. You've been around long enough. How many times have we said dumb shit? And you're just like,
exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And the media hears it, and it's like, why they don't need to, listen, it's their job to report it, but at the same time, it's like, it's all in fun. It wasn't like,
that's the point.
I know,
it is in fun.
I know, but
right? And there's a billion people in there at that time.
I know. How many times, think about Kratz and Jace, have you, like, the media has been in there. Well, first of all, Jace, like, they come in and say, okay, the media is coming in 2 minutes. Everybody get their clothes on, put pants on, put a shirt on, make sure you're presentable. They're going to be in here for 20 minutes. All right, go. And then everyone's like looking at the clock, like, okay, when is this 20 minutes
and
up?
half the dudes disappear.
Yeah, half the dudes
go
go
to the trainer's room.
Then
scatter.
If someone's in there, then you're like, attaboy, Harper. Like, okay. And everyone's like, yeah. Like, but it just is such not a big deal that.
It's a big deal, though, in my mind, Jace, for some people on Atlanta's side, which obviously, they weren't in a good spot in the series, to be like, you shouldn't report anything that's said during those 20 minutes unless the microphone's in my face. We know that that's not the case. If there was a fist fight, right behind me while I was doing an interview, do you think no one would talk about it? Like, oh, can't say anything. We didn't have the mic in their face. That's not how it works.
No, I hear you. And you know what? I think the media has a really special job, and for the most part, they do a really, really good job. From me, my personal opinion, I think they spend a little bit too much time hanging out in the clubhouse as opposed to actually interviewing people. I wish that time could be cut down a little bit, and I think that would prevent things like this. There's a lot of times, as y'all know, that you're in there and they're in there for 30, 40 minutes standing around, and then for 5 minutes they do an interview. So it's like they get to see and hear a lot of things, and it's unfortunate the things that don't need to be said that slip out, but it is what it is, and they're going to do what they do. But I wish that they would look to kind of cut that time down, where the locker room's for the players. It's not for the media to come and hang out, in my opinion. So, like, media can come do their job, but we got to cut that window down because it seems to me like it's a little bit too long.
You think that caused Harper to hit those homers?
Listen, Bryce is a special player, man. He's been in this game for a long time, one of the best in the game. And I think anytime you give a player like that a little bit of motivation and a little bit of fire, that what's the old saying? You mess with the bull, you get the horn. So I feel like that kind of one of those situations where it kind of fired him up a little bit, and then he popped a couple.
Jace, as a former player and now media member, I completely disagree with what you said about the time because, you guys all go hide in the back, and I just need to talk to Jace Peterson, and I can't get a hold of him because he's back there getting a massage or whatever it is you guys do in the back now that's changed in the last 10 years. But, if you guys would just come out, we could get our story because as a former player, I used to get pissed.
I would take that negotiation in a second.
Well, no, but I used to get pissed. And I don't know, Jace, I was this still bitter when I was playing with Jace, but like a reporter would come in and he'd pick up like the newspaper and he'd be like they'd pick up the newspaper off the desk and I'd walk by and I'd just grab it out of their hand and be like, nope, not for you. Or they'd be watching TV and I'd walk by with the remote and turn the TV off. I'm like, not for you. Right? But now is that person? I'm like so the other day, Jace, Wainwright was with us, and he was talking to Verlander in Houston. And he goes and sits on the couch, and afterwards I'm like, hey, man, like, we don't do that, right? Like, he's like, but Justin asked me. I'm like, yeah. But still, I would have been like, yeah, no, like, sorry. No, I get it. It's supposed to be a safe place, but then come out. Like, dude, get all your boys. Get Corbin Carroll to come out and talk for 2 minutes. Get freaking Alec Thomas to come out. Get, Gallen to come out. Get him to come out, and then guess what? Those guys will get the hell out of there.
Correct.
Yeah, but they're doing everything that you showed us to do. You and Kratzy told us, man, when the media comes in there, y'all scatter.
I know. See, I'm on the other side now. I'm on the other side.
You can't backtrack it now.
You can't have it both ways.
Yeah, nope. You can't backtrack it.
All right, I've got one on motivation. How dumb were the Seattle Mariners to trade Paul Sewald to you guys? Because not only is he closing games for you guys, he lengthens out your bullpen. I mean, I talked about that one a lot when it occurred. It's not why the Mariners didn't make it as far as they did. There's other reasons there, of course. But for me, I just thought that trade at the time was shocking, frankly, for a guy that's not even a free agent after this season for the Diamondbacks to pick him up.
Yeah, I have no idea why Seattle would do it, but I do know I am glad the Diamondbacks made that trade. It's a great move by Mike and everyone else involved to go and get a guy like that. Obviously, we have Kinkle there, and he's coming in that 8th inning, and he's throwing multiple if we need, and he's pretty special. His slider's pretty almost unhittable, and then to have Sewald in the back just really did lengthen it out. And he's a special guy. He's a guy who's done it for a long time. He's a guy that when he's got the ball in his hand, you got a good chance that that you're probably going to win this game. And he goes out there and competes every single day. He prepares every single day. He's a professional. He's a guy that just kind of leads by the way he shows up and his presence. So he's a special guy to have, and we're happy to have him.
What does the celebration look like when the Diamondbacks win this series? Is it
Man,
going to be crazy?
Champagne. A lot of champagne, a lot of cold beer. I think this will be the best one yet. We win this series, it'll be a really good celebration. We've had a couple so far, and I would say they're pretty good ones, but I think this one will top them all. Right now, we're focused on today and winning today, and when that celebration comes, I'll definitely let you know and get back to you.
Hey, they only get better each time, okay? Every time, every step, they get a little bit sweeter. And the last one is the best, right? So you got 2 more to go. All right, Sewald does a mean cannonball. Did you teach him that? But first of all, when he got traded, we had him on here. He said you went up to him and told him he was tipping. So you sold the whole league out? Is that how you go now, Jace? You sell out the whole league?
Hey, I ride with who I'm riding with. And he's on this team, so I'm riding with him. So whoever on this team, I'm riding with him. And, we had a little something on him and kind of told him, and he's been able to kind of control that and fix it. And I told Paul, you're good enough. You can do this and this, and let him know it's coming and throw it by people. So, I mean, he's a different cat, and whenever he throws the ball, he's got something else on it.
Was he appreciative, though, when you went up to him? And was he like, damn, no wonder them Oakland A's I couldn't get out?
For sure. I think he had no idea, and kind of once I showed it to him and went over it with him, he was able to kind of see it and fix it. So he was definitely appreciative.
So now the A's are all calling you like, you son of a bitch.
I don't think they're too worried about it.
I know.
Hey, it is what it is.
Maybe the Dodgers, Maybe the Dodgers.
The Brewers were pissed. The Brewers like, Jace, you're a Brewer. Now you're.
Wouldn't you guys do the same?
Of course I do the same
Oh, my gosh.
Of course.
I always did
Dubs.
$1,000,000%.
Yeah,
they're riding with whoever's on their team, too. That's just how we get down.
Shoot, I told Yarborough. Yarborough was on this show. I told him he was tipping in whatever year that was when Gardy had him in the playoffs. He's like, no way. Dude, I'll tell. Shoot, don't let me find a tip.
And now, y'all know nowadays with analytics, man, there's people dedicated on each team that are looking for things like any type of stuff. So that's something that's in the game, and whether it's trying to get them at second, whether it's getting them in gloves, whether it's getting them on positioning, there's all kind of stuff out there. So you got to be aware and you got to be on it.
And Jace, last one from me on your boy Zach Gallen. The Philly crowd is really intense and cool, and I think gives them more of a home field advantage than most teams have had in the postseason in a while. Is there anyone that cares less about that than Zach Gallen? I mean, he's from the area. He's a tough dude. He likes pitching with a chip on his shoulder. I mean that in a positive way, like where he goes in there and maybe even thrives off of that, where many others have looked, pretty shook, I would say.
Yeah, no, I don't. I think you hit it right on the head. I don't think he's bothered by it. I think he's a guy who kind of thrives off of it. He likes that environment. He's ready to go each and every day, and I think you're going to see a really, really focused Zach Gallen tonight and somebody who can really dominate the game. He takes it over, and once he gets in that zone, man, he's really special. He can do a lot of different things, attack you a lot of different ways, but he's coming at you. I mean, he's not scared, and I think that's what separates those guys at those ones and twos. They're coming at you.
Hey, Jace, Moreno okay? Is he's okay? He's good?
He's okay. He's okay.
Because I don't want to see
okay.
you have to get back there behind the plate. I've seen that tired skit.
I only had to do it a couple times, and I will if I need to. But no, I think Christian Walker would be our number 3 if we needed it. I know he used to catch, so he's athlete. I think he could be back there and handle it just fine.
He's from the Northeast too, so he's tough.
Oh my God, dude, that was one thing I was going to say. Gallen's tough because he's from New Jersey. Oh, he's so tough.
All right, well, you said it. You said it twice.
No, Scott said it.
He's shooing me off. I didn't say a word.
So, Jace, last thing, and we're going to get off baseball here for a second. How long after the Diamondbacks win the World Series until you're in a duck blind or a deer blind?
Oh, a day or two. Maybe a little bit longer this year. I got to get a little small procedure at the end of the season, and then so maybe a week or two, but that'd be about the most.
Okay, I was going to say, because you're missing like quality hunting time right here. I mean, this is like it.
There's only one other thing I'd rather be doing right now, and that's baseball. Other than that, I'd be in a deer stand or duck blind, no question.
All right, just checking. I know you can't take him out of Louisiana.
No,
you
playing hurt.
One day, Jace will invite me to go duck hunting. One of these days. I mean, after all we've been through together, all the ups and downs, and one day he'll say like, "Hey, why don't you come to Louisiana?"
He's getting a procedure. Send him something nice.
Okay.
Yeah,
all you got to do is show up. Kratz came out there and shot some ducks with me. You should have came.
He did?
I did.
No, I'm playing. But he's ready.
Kratz is scared of guns. What are you talking about?
Can't get none.
Y'all got to come. Open invite, man. Y'all got to come.
All right. I'm going to hold you to that one.
Come on. All right, Jace. Have a great time. Enjoy the game. And good luck to your boys, all right?
Yep. Appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good one.
Thanks,
too.
Buddy.
Thanks, Jace.
Be the best cheerleader you can be.
Jace Peterson with us on FT Live. Quick poll question. Which players up their free agent money the most in the offseason? Aaron Nola, Jordan Montgomery, Tommy Pham. Think about it. WatchStadium.com/foul territory. Big news out of Miami. A new GM? What? After that season? Let's do a little That's What He Said. So I got 2 for you, both from the Phils, and they said it with their chest. Let's start with Nick Castellanos in the FCC competition that's been going on right now. Verlander took a strong lead, but Castellanos is trying to catch up.
In different teams, I don't know why you in Philadelphia works. It's the best fit. Would you agree with me?
You're asking me?
Yeah, you in Philly is the best fit. Nick Castellanos always needed to play for the Philadelphia Phillies. Am I onto something?
I mean, yeah, for Philly.
Nick, I enjoy you, man. You are one of the great personalities in the sport. You're an awesome baseball player. Congratulations on your achievements tonight. We really appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
Epic. He was on fire last
That's part
night.
of that? No. He has no shirt on.
I know. He has no shirt on. Also, people forget, like, these are real humans who just played a sport for a while and sweat, and then they go in a clubhouse and they're given tons of alcohol by the league to spray but also consume. Like, dudes are having some drinks and they're allowed. So you might, and I don't even think, I mean, I think he would say that either way, but I am just saying, I've been around some players that are fun post game and we do the interview and you're like, that dude's had a few, and that's okay. You know, he's over 21 years old. He's allowed. He just wants to.
We should have more champagne showers in life.
Agreed.
It shouldn't just be a sports thing. And don't try to give everybody a trophy. I'm not saying that, but like, you accomplish something that is really tough to do and you worked an entire year for it. Champagne showers. Like, we need this. We need this in our life. I mean, I don't know, you get a boat, people like smash a bottle of something on the front to christen the boat on the front of the boat. I don't know how that works. Like, that's kind of there, but like, we need more champagne showers. I think it needs to be put out there into more walks of life.
And now back to foul territory.
FT Live back with some breaking news that we learned about today, which was really shocking, frankly, for me. So shocking, but then also I'm like, what's going on here? So let's run it. The Miami Marlins and Kim Ng have parted ways. Yes, the GM who takes the Marlins back to the playoffs besides the COVID year for the first time since 2003 parts ways. And Tyler Kepner covered the story. So he said he just spoke with her. And she said, quote, last week, Bruce Sherman, that's the owner, and I discussed his plan to reshape the baseball ops department. In our discussions, it became apparent that we were not completely aligned on what that should look like. And I felt it best to step away. I wish to express my sincere gratitude and appreciation to the Marlins family and its fans for my time in South Florida. This year was a great step forward for the organization, and I will miss working with Skip and his coaches, as well as all of the dedicated staff in baseball ops and throughout the front office. They are a very talented group, and I wish them great success in the future. What the fuck? What happened? She just led them to a freaking playoff appearance. This is the first female general manager in baseball. What are the Marlins doing? I'm throwing her the bag and I'm figuring it out. Like, are they saying Wayne Huizinga it and fire sale the team apart after making the playoffs?
Where's she going to go, though?
Maybe the Red Sox. The only reason I'm not pissed is because I think she'll have a job if she wants it as a GM within the next year or two.
Tell you what I'm pissed about.
What?
The White Sox didn't even get a chance.
Well, they don't interview external candidates.
But she used to be a White Sox, though. She came up with the White Sox.
She's right now, external candidate is different for the White Sox. But the Red Sox, they should be calling her ASAP.
Kratz, explain this to me. You make the playoffs for the first full year in 20 years, and you and the owner can't get on the same page? It's something, we're missing something here. Because she made great trades.
Mm-hmm.
She traded for Berger, right? She traded for Robertson. She traded for guys that helped them down the stretch. She didn't give up. Well, she Arise, but I mean,
this has nothing to do with her performance. Clearly, this has to do with the direction of the franchise, or maybe they wanted to fire people.
She hired Skip Schumacher.
Yeah, which was money.
which was the best part of that story is she did what most teams are supposed to do, and she asked around like, "Hey, I know the standard candidates. Is there anybody out there that nobody's talking about?" And someone was, I forget who it was like, "Hey, you should look at this Skip Schumacher guy," and they hired him, and he was awesome. So everything she did seemed to be right. I don't know of anyone that's ever said a bad word about Kim.
Can I venture a guess? After the season, you meet with your ownership group. You say, hey, what does the offseason look like? What's our budget? And if you're told not much, like Derek Jeter was told, then you're like, okay, this isn't that fun. I can probably get a job elsewhere. We're not on the same page. I want to build something special here. You're not allowing me to do so. We know that teams that don't spend it all generally are not going to fare as well. And it sucks to lose. Life is short. Do you think that could be the case in a situation like this? And also the difference with her, I mean, Jeter, obviously the team wasn't good yet. They were trying to build some things, but they didn't do a great job there. She did a fantastic job of putting a playoff team together.
Ding, 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 ding. Prize, Scotty Braun. I talked to some people this morning about this, and we'll get to it a little bit later, but look who's left. Jeter's left. He doesn't have to bend the knee to ownership. He wants to go in there and be who he is. Don Mattingly's left. He doesn't have to bend the knee. Kim Ng has done so well, she doesn't need to sit here and go through another offseason where they're told, oh, we have $4 million to spend on free agency when other people are spending $400 million in the same division.
Boom. There it is. And we'll cover this story more. I'm sure we'll get more on this story. The insiders are probably all like, oh, shit. There'll be plenty of stories out, and there'll probably be a lot of chatter up in Boston about their vacant position because it doesn't seem like there's a front runner up there yet either. So
it might be now.
Stay tuned on that front. Exactly. It might be now. She did a fantastic job. Well, Mets, if she wants to work, under David Stearns, you're saying? Nah, she should run Boston, in my mind. I mean, that's a better position for her. It's a higher position.
Rick.
We'll be right back with a preview and picks on tonight's games.
my entire career, people will announce me as 11-year big leaguer, but I want to be announced as a 13-year minor leaguer, okay? Because some of the most fun I had in the big leagues and the minor leagues is bus rides. So of your crew, who's going to get on the mic to call people out on the 3.5-hour bus ride from Houston to Arlington?
Well, why would people need to be called out?
Because that's what you do on bus trips.
Well, also,
Oh, I see.
I'll give context too. So
Ken doesn't know. He only takes private planes. He doesn't get it.
No. I'm saying show context. So probably what? Maybe about, and we've had over 200 player guest appearances on this show. I would say at least like 20 times. Kratz has had a player on where he's been like, give us more on this team. Who's talking on the bus rides? Who's grabbing the mic? That's a big thing, especially for rookies, right? Who's on the mic? So of everybody that travels in that Fox crew, and we're not including AJ because he's not on the CS. Who's grabbing the mic and what? Kratz being like a wise ass or just as funny?
Yeah, like just you give a funny, like you call different people out. You call. Well, you can't call Ken because he's not a rookie, but you call Ken. you call Joe Davis up to the front of the bus, and he's like, "Hey, Rook, I know you only got 3 years on the beat here, but really like how you're."
Well, all right, Eric. I'll give you an
So.
honest answer because I'm not necessarily experienced in this regard because, as AJ has said, I fly private all the time, usually just me alone. That's how we do it. But I would imagine if we do take this bus, and apparently it is in the works, that there might be some of that, but I don't know for a fact. I really don't know. I haven't even given it any consideration. I will say this. I will say this, Eric. I didn't cover the minor leagues, but I was in the minor leagues. Okay, I was in a smaller town to start my career. And those memories are indelible. They're memories I have and will never lose. And that camaraderie you have at that level, whether it's the minor leagues in sports writing or the minor leagues in baseball or anything else, it's unique. And I always feel grateful for that time because it makes me appreciate the private planes I take today.
And now, back to foul territory.
Poll results, and we made it pretty easy. It's Monday. People might be, hungover or ready for the games. Obviously, who do you think is making the most money right now in the playoffs of a player for free agency? Monty. And Nola in second makes sense. I mean, Nola's making him some money.
And I know Tommy Pham. I love Tommy Pham, but he's not going to get. No offense, he's not going to get a $200 million contract.
No, he's upped his value a little bit.
No, he's upped his value, but he's an older guy, and he's going to get a 1 year, 2 year maybe deal. But he's not on the level of Nola and Monty. And Monty's
he's a one right now.
Every time Monty goes out there and goes 6 1/3 scoreless, he's like ching ching ching.
Yep,
20 more million. I'm not saying every single time, but I'm saying every 2 starts that he makes in the playoffs here, because now all of a sudden you're a playoff proven pitcher. That's an extra year. And if you're getting 20 million a year, 25 million a year on your contract, somebody's going to give you that extra year, not just a couple more million per year.
BetMGM Locks. Let's preview a big, big day. There are not many days left where we'll have 2 playoff games. We'll do post-game shows right here. So we check out money bags. Cool. And we look forward here. You can pick, obviously, either the ALCS or NLCS game. Locks get a little tough when you've only got 2 games to choose from. We've had that time during the season. I'll start because I'll just keep it pretty simple. Kratz, for me, people that have rode Texas money line so far in the playoffs are feeling great because I think they've been the underdog at least like half the time. Yep. And that is the case. That was the case last night. That is the case yet again tonight. They're plus $100 with Evaldi against Framber. I'm just fading Framber. I said Framber. I'm fading him. Framber. Whatever.
Framber Valdez.
I'm fading him. He's been one of my favorite pitchers actually the last few years. He's just not the same this year. The Rangers spit at pitches out of the zone, and if you make a mistake right now, they crush you. He leaves pitches up, and I just don't think in the playoffs you can get away with that. And the deeper you get into the postseason, and if you take on a team like this with the offense like this, I think they're going to make him pay if he pitches like that. He could also pop up and not make those mistakes, and his shit is untouchable. But I just think Rangers at plus money, I'll take it. I'll ride that. And what'd you say? The Astros suck at home, so maybe they lose this one and then win a couple in Texas, in Arlington, I should say.
They're not good at home. They're 40 and 43 at home this year.
That's crazy.
Including the postseason, 1 and 2 in the postseason.
You got this game?
Yeah. So I'm going same game, but I'm going under 8.5 runs because the Astros can't hit at home. And Evaldi's been really good, and Fromber needs to pitch good because he didn't pitch very well against the Twins. And I got Adolis Garcia 1 hit, and that gets me to plus 230. Lefty pitching to Garcia. He's going to sneak one out there. And I think it's going to be it's not going to be 2-0, but this got 4-3 written all over it. Something like that. So under 8.5 plus 230, it's hard to pass that up.
I like it. Kratz, what do you got for Phillies and Diamondbacks?
I'm going to go run line. Run line with the Phillies. Paying out at plus 125. I see us being like a 5-2, 4-1 type of ball game. I think both Gallen and Wheeler are going to go 6+. I looked at the outs. I kind of liked the outs a little bit because they were running a little bit low. I think they're going to both go 6+. But I see the Phillies just continuing to roll and not necessarily Diamondbacks getting shut down, but I think it'll be about a 5-2 game. I was looking at the under, and the under set at 7, so I can't touch that.
Ooh. All right, bonus code is FOUL for you for your $1,500 first bet offer on the BetMGM Sportsbook app on iOS or Android or BetMGM.com. You sign up and deposit at least $10 into your new account and place your first wager. You get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your bet loses. And if the bet does lose, your bonus bets will be available once your initial wager is settled. Gambling problem or concern, call 1-800-GAMBLER. So in hour number 2, we're going to talk to Victor Scott about life in the Arizona Fall League, and also Max Muncy of the LA Dodgers is going to join us pretty soon. So I'm looking forward to a couple good player combos, and we'll see. I mean, Victor Scott, one of the speedsters, probably pretty excited about some of the new rules that we're seeing in Major League Baseball. So we'll ask him when he's coming up to the bigs and how many bags he's trying to steal. Be right back.
So I can be free. I take the weight on my shoulders. I feel the sky come down on me, and I can't hold it much longer. Gonna let go so I can be free. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hour 2, FT Live. We're going to talk to Victor Scott coming up in a few minutes in the Cardinals organization. When I say a burst of energy, I mean it. He's 22 years old. He's a former 5th-round pick. And he stole 94 bases in the minor leagues this year. I knew it was fast. I don't look at minor league stats that much. 94 stolen bags this year. Holy shit. So we'll ask him about the rule changes that will make him more money when he gets to the big leagues. And Max Muncy of the LA Dodgers to kind of give us the postseason report on what happened in LA this year. Let's swing it over to the Rangers-Astros series again and preview what's coming up in this series. Hot corner time. You know how I mentioned at the beginning of the show, it's helpful when your team does stuff? That is the case even when you acquire a pitcher who then gets hurt after several starts because he's back. Evan Grant, reporting on this team every day, says Scherzer feels good. Asked him if there was more life on his fastball Wednesday. And in my opinion, this is me, giving one of the better quotes this postseason. Quote, "It was a weird sim game. I usually don't pitch hung over." Grant said touche. Sounds like pretty much everybody in agreement. Good to go for the ALCS. And yes, then we found out he is on the roster. He talked about how I think he went like 68 pitches in that sim game because people are trying to find out how much he can give Texas. And I don't think he even knows how much he can give them. But you're cool even if you get a few innings here and there out of Max Scherzer. If they're good innings, you're picking up outs. And it helps. I mean, they added him and John Gray to their roster for the ALCS. That's a pretty nice little add come this time. I mean, are you worried at all about like rust? You know, speaking of long layoffs, he had a really long
He'd be too well rested. He could be too well rested.
Right. Already. Yeah. You know, he's a guy that's giving excuses.
Yeah.
I mean, no, I think this is great for the Rangers. It's going to give him a boost. Wait till he takes the mound in Arlington for Game 3. Crowd's going to go crazy. He's going to be out there stomping around, you know, snarling at the Astros. I think this is a great thing. I just wish he could have gone Verlander versus Scherzer like Game 1, Game 5. That would have been awesome. But listen, happy Max is back. And then you throw John Gray. I know John Gray struggled down the stretch, but still, he's another guy. I mean, if you're the Rangers, would you rather have Scherzer and Gray or Heaney and Dunning pitching? Probably Scherzer and Gray.
And you still have
those guys in the bullpen, which they both warmed up last night.
They sent down Brock Burke and Matt Bush are not on the roster anymore. But damn, I mean, this is what we talked about. They have like 8 starters on that roster.
Bruce Bochy's the master, though. He is the master of manipulating a bullpen. And the thing about Boch is he used to be the best at like manipulating the other team's manager. He could like he knew exactly who he wanted to face who, and he'd be like, "Oh, I'm going to bring in this guy because they're going to pinch hit this guy, and I want that match." I mean, he was like the best. He could play it to where he manipulated the other manager to where he got the matchup he wanted. Oh, or the other team's going to send up a pinch hitter. Oh, well, they know I'm going to bring in this guy. I want him to do that because I wanted my righty to face this lefty. Like he was the king of that.
The Bruce Bochy bait. He would bait a guy out there like, oh man, you know, hey, go out there on deck, and the other dude's sitting under the tunnel going, there's no way they're going to make this move. And then that other dude's ready to go, and it was like flippy floppy. I would not give every manager that many starters in the bullpen. But I think Bruce Bochy, because he communicates well, and he also knows how to not just be like, go warm up. Like, dude, you want me to warm up again? I was a starter all year. Okay, don't warm up. Okay, now warm up again. Like, he communicates so well. If it was anybody else, I would say, it's a little bit of a risky move because those guys just can't constantly be down there like, am I in? Am I not in? Am I in? Am I not in? But I think he's the guy to do it. And I think they got a juggernaut going on right now because you wouldn't say that their bullpen is better than the Astros. I would say out of anybody, I think they might have I think it'd be between them and the Diamondbacks bullpen wise, as far as who has the worst bullpen of the 4 teams left. But the way Bochy just asks guys to get certain outs and the way this lineup is rolling, they don't even need the bullpen, really.
I have a question. How difficult is it to communicate with players, even if it's a tough conversation? If you're a manager, and that's really your primary job these days, isn't it? Isn't that your number one role?
Here's the problem you have to understand. The ones that do it well are not afraid of tough conversations. The ones who have a hard time with it are the ones that wants to be everybody's friend. Mm-hmm. And you can't be everyone's friend. There's going to be people that aren't going to like you. That's in any job, pretty much, if you're in charge, okay? But as the manager, can you have tough conversations, but still make it okay? Can you go to Jace Peterson, if you're Torey Lovello, and say, hey, Jace, man, sorry, buddy, you're not on the roster. Here's the reason why. Da-da-da-da. And Jace was like, I get it. But then you get a manager that just doesn't tell you or, gets rid of people and is not in the office and things like that. There's just like things to communicating that you have to be okay having tough conversations. And you have to also understand these conversations are going to happen. It's not the end of the world. It doesn't make you a bad person. But you also can't be friends with everybody. You can't be friends with your players. You can be friends, but you can't be friends. I mean, I don't know if that makes sense, but you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Like, you
it
can
makes
be
sense.
friends and be like, hey, Scott, you're my friend, but then you can't be so chummy that you can't have that conversation. And that's where a lot of managers have a hard time. They have a hard time having hard conversations with guys. And honestly, as a former player, I just wanted the truth, man. Just tell me. Like, you suck. Okay, I suck. Fine. You're not going to play. Why aren't I going to play? Okay, I can deal with that.
Because the front office told me.
No.
So,
Yeah,
you even have a scapegoat now. If you're the manager, you could be like, it's
but
not
you
my
can't
call.
have that. You
I know,
can't say that. Listen, I had it happen to me in Atlanta one time, 2015. We'll get into it, not now, but one day we'll get into it.
Okay.
I had a conversation with the manager, and he was Freddie Gonzalez. He was great about it, and he told me exactly the front office wasn't very happy with him, but Freddie and I are still friends.
You can't tell us now.
Well, we don't have time. We got to get into other stuff. One day we'll get into it.
Okay.
No,
Let's just say it had,
no, go ahead.
Huh?
Go ahead.
no, just say it had to do with, like, I was starting to hit big incentives, and all of a sudden I wasn't playing anymore. It was weird how that, like, I started hitting boom, 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 and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, by the way, you're going to take September off. Wait, why now? You know, just things like that. Like, can you, as a manager, if I was a manager, can I have a conversation with the guy that's on the bubble and go to him and say, listen, you're not making the team in spring training, but we're still going to need you, and make him feel like I'm still in his corner, even though it's a hard conversation, right? Or can I have that conversation with a guy that's just not going to work, but still make him feel something, right? But not me sit there and go, gosh, I got to have this conversation with Scott Braun and tell him I'm going to kick him out of my house, and but I want to be but be honest with you, right? It's a very fine line that managers walk, and I think Kratz, you'll agree with me. Like, the good ones are great at that, and the bad ones just don't have that feel.
No feel. And I will forever say this. It's not just the manager to the player. It's the manager to the front office. The manager is, for good or for worse, like, he's going to be the guy that's going to take the fall. You watch the whole Blue Jay thing play out. If the manager is not able to have real conversations with ownership, maybe a little less with ownership because that's more general manager, but with manager to the GM, manager to the training staff, manager to the traveling guy, manager to the players. Not saying he has to lord over everything, saying you have to be able to talk to all those different people. And if you are not a good people person, but because you, like, kiss up to the right people in interviews, you get the job, it's not going to work out. You got to have an ego. You got to be egotistical, and it never shows. You got to be confident without being cocky. And you got to be able to do that for organizations that win. Look at the organizations that are in right now. Rangers. CY's the GM. CY brought in Bochy. Dombrowski. Topper's in there. Now, Astros, I don't know how that all's going on because people are getting fired all the time. But Dusty is a confident dude, and he has his players' backs. He let Urquidy in a one-run game pitch till the sixth inning in a one-run game. How many other organizations are sitting there going, I think our analytic department would be totally fine with that. They'd be jumping through the glass to try to get Urquidy out of the game. But he's got that confidence, like, no, this is my guy. So it's that quiet confidence. And anytime I see a manager that's out there promoting himself, I just cringe and I think it's not quite going to work.
Let's bring in our guest out in the Arizona Fall League, Cardinals prospect. He's fast. Victor Scott joins us right now. Victor, how's it going, man?
Man, I can't complain, man. Arizona's great. Just kind of loving the weather out here. Everywhere is kind of else is a little cold, but out here is nice and warm. So can't complain at all.
Oh, it's good living. Arizona Fall League. Obviously, we're talking to a lot of players throughout this month about life out there. I always like to do this, bring our combo that we just had over to you. More simply put, you're not in the big leagues yet, but just how is the communication process for a prospect in terms of what you need to work on and who are you talking to? And did you have a meeting right after the season where they were like, Victor, the problem is we were really looking for about 120 stolen bags out of you, and you didn't even get to 100 this year.
Slacker.
Yeah, oftentimes it kind of just streamlines from like the farm directors or like hitting coordinators, especially like as a hitter for me. But it's just about like all like what you need to work on and kind of like what the big league club needs and kind of how you would provide service in that aspect.
What do you need to work on? What were you told, and what do you think you need to work on? Because I think you've got base running down.
Yeah, it honestly was like a big time adjustment for me because in college I was a 3-hole hitter, so oftentimes I was trying to hit for doubles and get RBIs and all that good stuff. And then kind of when I got into pro ball, my identity changed from a 3-hole hitter to a leadoff man, a table setter. So when I first got here, working with like Russ and working with Daniel, it was kind of like a more level swing, kind of get yourself on base more, and then you to really utilize the ability to run. So that helped out a lot.
Oh, I thought you had another question.
No.
Oh, sorry.
I didn't know if Kratz did.
Oh.
All right, so let's go over life with the St. Louis Cardinals right now. Who do you know in the organization? Who have you spoken to? And were you in spring training with the ball club?
Yeah, I was. I wasn't in big league spring training, but I was in like a step camp where we would go like up and down from either like the minor league side to the big league side, kind of just every day.
Did you get that meal money though? Did you get the big league meal money in step up camp or?
Nah, unfortunately I didn't, but I wish.
Need that.
How does a guy from Georgia end up at West Virginia?
Yeah, so I mean, it was kind of like a late decision for me almost. I wasn't really like severely scouted in high school, so West Virginia was like a Power 5 school that gave me an opportunity to come in and start my freshman year, and that was like something I didn't want to deny when I first got that offer. So, being said that, I made that choice, and then it ended up working out for me.
Yeah, it worked out really well. Hey, did you get your Cardinal Way book yet? Because I hear Cardinal prospects get the Cardinals Way book. And have you read through the entire book?
Haven't read through the entire book, but I do have it at home. So I've read a couple of pages, couple of chapters, but haven't read through the entire book yet.
Does it inhibit you somewhat from like putting out some pretty sick pictures of you in like Cowboy Day, like showing off the muscles or anything like that?
No, I wouldn't say so. I kind of been disassociating that with just like more so like building your brand, kind of letting people know who you are outside of baseball, showing your personality on social media. So yeah, that's a funny picture show.
That's a good picture. I like that
picture.
Yeah, we had Reggie on the other day, and Reggie was saying he didn't. I still think Reggie was holding his. He was going like extra to give an extra bicep. I think he was. I know he's a big dude. But he was pushing it out a little bit, trying to get a little extra.
Yeah, Reggie put some sunscreen on before we went out. Before we went out there and did that. He said it was gonna make him glisten a little bit. So I was like, it's crazy.
Hey, do you think on the whole, like promoting, building your brand stuff? Do you feel like something? Obviously, I don't know what's in the Cardinal Way book, but you see. It seems like it's very like the Cardinal Way kind of comes across as kind of boring. I know you're a Cardinal prospect, but is there something to building your brand and still having like respect for the game?
Yeah, most definitely. I feel like it's like a fine line because a lot of the times like you can build your brand, but like it's really just like, as I see it, just for like letting others show or like know who you are, know your personality. But like kind of disassociating that from baseball, just like allowing them, because everybody's going to see what you do on the field, but then no one necessarily gets to see kind of like how you live your life outside of the field. So just kind of letting everybody know, like, look, I'm just not a baseball player. Like I'm a bowler, I'm a ping pong player, I'm an artist. So kind of just letting everyone know, like, okay, look, I'm more than just the identity of a baseball player.
So, Victor, do you feel like there's a process to get to that point to show more of your personality where, for example, Randy Arozarena has an act, right? And he's like that all the time, and he's able to be his true self. Do you feel like if there's a player who wants to express themselves that much, like Randy does, that you have to be in the bigs, you have to show some success, and then you can really let loose? Because ultimately, and we talk about this a lot on our show, our game needs more of that. So if there are barriers, there are definitely some of them being broken where, guys are able to come up and be themselves more. And some teams that we speak to, they'll say, like, I mean, we're talking to Max Muncy right after we speak with you, and he says, hey, we let the rookies do their thing. Like, there's no judgment. It's just be yourself, have fun, and do whatever you need to do. So do you feel like there's a process there, and do you think that it's changing at all?
Yeah, I most definitely feel like it's a process, because like the world kind of is like a big time like social media input world. Like with brand deals and things like that, those brands want you to kind of promote yourself on your social media so they can give you a chance. It doesn't like always come down to your performance on the field. It's kind of just like your notoriety and like the image that you're portraying of yourself. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, that's what I was kind of go to here too. Is it hard to express yourself as like, the brand that you're building if you're not doing as well? Like, let's say you come out next year and you only average 10 stolen bases per month. You're really slumping with your stolen bases instead of 20 a month. Like, is it hard to like, you know what, I better not do this right now because I didn't play real well?
Yeah, I definitely feel like that's like a factor into it, but it all just kind of comes down to like confidence and how you kind of go about like your everyday life. So I feel like if I weren't to like continue building my brand in those times, and people would could portray me as like fake, or he's only doing this when he's doing well, or he's only doing this when he has the hype right now. But I mean, everyone kind of goes through like a tough period where they'll struggle. So I feel like if I were to continue doing that in that time period, it would kind of just show like, all right, look, he's just continuing to show how he is, who he is off the field, because he's not just a baseball player when it comes to, down to it at the end of the day.
Vic, you got a couple chains on. One's Vic, one looks like a lightning bolt. If you get 100 stolen bases, you're going to get like a big 100 around your neck. I mean,
in the majors or minors?
Either one. I mean, 100's a big number.
No,
First of all, 94, we couldn't get to 100 this year. I mean, what's happening here?
100. Don't let Scott hate him. 100. I can tell you all the people I played against that had 100 stolen bases in the minor leagues. It is not many. Billy Hamilton, Wayne Leiden, and Angel Pagan. That's it.
Angel Pagan.
Angel Pagan.
I might have overstepped saying Angel Pagan.
I'm
gonna look at that.
Yeah, I don't think he stole 100. Billy Hamilton, for sure.
Yeah.
And the other guy, I don't even never heard of him. So
Wayne Leiden.
All right, so let's get back to my question. Are you going to get a big 100 chain if you get to 100?
Potentially, it might be like a gift from somebody. So hopefully it can happen.
You already have 100. You already got 9 in the fall league. That's 103 stolen bases.
That don't count. I need to see 100.
Falling counts. Falling's hard.
Hey,
94 9. No, I need to see 100.
Look,
it's like they're going to be like, oh, I need to see 100.
Just because AJ wouldn't have thrown you out and I would have thrown you out, I'm the one that AJ. You were getting the hits. I'm throwing people out. Okay, let me have something. Let me have something, AJ.
I know about Billy Hamilton.
Come on, man.
I mean, I'm just saying.
AJ's got 2,000 hits in the show, and I got not even 2,000 innings caught. So.
Okay, well, life has become a little bit easier too, right? So when you get up to the show, there were changes this year. Stolen bases were up. Kratz, you're the numbers guy. Was it 40% this year in the bigs? Is that the number?
I don't know the percentage, but
it was a lot. It was a lot.
What do you mean 40% what?
The overall number of stolen bags this year?
Oh, it was 85% making it, which is like the highest percentage.
Right, that's the success rate, yes, was up. But the overall number of stolen bags was up a lot. So, Victor, for you, when you saw officially last offseason that those rules were going to be put in place about, limited pickoffs, bigger bases, right? Stuff like that. Did you do one of these? Like, let's go. I might steal an extra 20, 30 bags when I get up there.
Yeah, it definitely helps out a person, like a guy of like my kind of forte on the field, because essentially when you only have 2 pickoff attempts and then you say like you utilize 2, I can almost just bank on you pitching on the next one. If you slide step or high leg lift, like it doesn't matter at that point. So, I mean, those rules, the time limit helps out, kind of speed the game up a little bit. So if you're not in shape, if you're not ready for like that type of pace of play, then as a pitcher, you're really focused on just getting out the hitter. So then they lose complete interest in like what I'm doing, and now I can kind of just roam free on those.
What if a hitting coach? How confident are you in your hitting? Just confident or not confident? Good.
I would say confident.
Okay. What if a hitting coach comes to you next year and is like, all right, hey, I want you to start driving the ball out of the ballpark? Are you a guy that's going to say, okay, yeah, I'm going to do that? Or are you like, you know what? I'm going to stick where I'm at.
Yeah, I think I'm definitely going to say I'm going to stick where I'm at. That's where I've had the most success at. So, like in college, I was the drive the ball at the ballpark guy, and I hit 6 homers. So that really don't work too well for me. So I'm just going to stick to the table setting routine.
Well, and the game's changing here. I mean,
Yeah.
you're going to get
Look at the Diamondbacks.
right.
Look at some of these teams that are left. They steal bases now. Like they run. It's not just hit the ball out of the ballpark. They steal bases.
Also, I think following a player like Andrew Benintendi in his career, you know how he came up, he was such a great contact guy, and then he tried to become more of a pop guy. It didn't really work out.
How many homers he
tried
hit
to
this
go
year?
back. Like, yeah, 2. Right.
AJ's also a White Sox fan. Vic,
Yeah, so I might
know.
But I'm just saying, like, following his track has
I'm a
been
Cardinals
interesting.
fan. I take that personal.
Yeah, you played there.
I did. Legend in Cardinals world.
Hey,
Victor,
Vic,
no, I do. I want to. Speaking of the Cardinals, have they ever brought like Willie McGee? I know was a big league coach, but they had Vince Coleman, Willie McGee. They had some dudes that could run back in the '80s. And they brought them around and said, "Hey, Victor, like we're going to teach you all these little tricks so you can get to 100."
Yeah. So actually, I talked to both Willie McGee and Vince Coleman. Vince Coleman more than McGee, but I talked to Willie McGee a lot during spring training and just kind of picking his brain about like how they played the game back in the day, because I feel like that's what's coming back. And then with Vince Coleman, I was at the Futures game, and like a guy from my agency texted me, say Vince Coleman's downstairs, and I don't know how fast I ran down those stairs and like go meet that guy, because I'm like, man, this is somebody who genuinely knows how to base steal, genuinely knows how to play the game. So I went down there, talked to him, picked his brain, and then we kind of still share a good connection like to this day.
okay, so what's the next big rule change to the bigs? Because you've played in some of the experimental situations, right, in the minors? Because you know how like each league's got different testing going on. Oh, what have you experienced? What have you liked? What have you thought? We don't need that in the bigs.
I have like with the ABS strike zone, the automatic strike zone. That one's kind of it could be pitcher friendly, because there are some times where like a pitch will like be like a dirt ball for a catcher, but it like clip the bottom of the zone. So like the catcher's blocking the ball, but it's a strike. So that one's like a little iffy. Opposed to like the rule changes, like with the time clock. I like the time clock. Helps kind of speed up the game a little bit. It's only 2 pickoff attempts. On the third one, you have to get them. I mean, that works in my favor, so I want that rule around. And then the challenging strikes, I would say like sometimes normally like if you're challenging it, then it's probably close enough for you to swing in a 2-strike count, or even if you're not at a 2-strike count. So I would say like probably not with the challenges, but I mean that's to each his own.
How about the challenges? Because I was watching some of your steals. Now the ones you got caught going to third, you were kind of out. It looked like you didn't get some good jumps. I didn't see one at second base that I was like, we got to take a look at that. Like you might have had 8 more stolen bases if there was a system. Like I'm just watching your video from the minor leagues, and that's what I saw.
Yeah, most definitely. Like a lot of the times, like if the throw either beats you or the throw is like on top of your head and your arms are in there, because of their angle, because of like the umpires like positioning, they'll always call you out. Like it doesn't matter anything. If that throw either beats you or it's like, or they make like serious contact like with your body, they're gonna call you out no matter what. So you can get tagged like on your leg while you're sliding. Potentially they're gonna call you out because of like the impact of the tag. So it's definitely a difficult situation for bang plays for them though.
How many do you think of those? I mean, you remember them, so in your mind, how many do you think of those were you like, yeah, I was definitely out on that? Because I'll be honest, maybe I didn't see all of them. I didn't see any where it was like, man, he got you at second. I'm talking just in second.
I always had kind of like I wouldn't have like something to say like in like an aggressive manner, but I would always like come back after the inning was over and be like, what'd you see right there? And he'd be like, I don't know. I think the throw beat you. And anytime I hear like the word I think, then they don't really know. So.
Well, they're going to get it right. When you get up to the big leagues, they're going to get it right with the replay. That is something that is, they're going to get it right. But you got to figure out not getting thrown out stealing third. I saw too many on there for your speed. You can't be getting thrown out going to third.
Yeah, it's all about the jump and timing with that one.
No doubt. What's the in the fall league? Now, a lot of people don't know, like, the games are fun, but like, who are the guys you're hanging out with outside of the field? Because for me, a lot of the stuff we did at the fall league, you played games, and for me, you're out there you're not playing every single day. But who are the dudes that you're hanging out with outside of the fall league? Outside of the games, I mean.
Yeah, I would say Trey Lipscomb with the Nationals. We hang out a lot. Robert Hassel with the Nationals. Me and Reggie, too. Giants. Sonny DeShera, great guy with the Angels. And even my teammates here, like Jimmy Crooks or Takoa or Jerpy, like we all just kind of hang out with those guys for sure.
You got a whole apartment, like all those people in one apartment?
Nah, it's just so like each team like buys their own players, like their own like apartments. So I live with like Cardinals guys, like all the Cardinals guys are here, all the Nationals guys are here, all the Angels, so on and so forth.
What? So you don't even pay for your apartment?
No, they pay for housing, so it's really nice setup for sure.
Hey, that's big time. That's big time because we had to put 6 dudes in an apartment because we were making I think we were making $1,600 or $1,700 a month when we were out there. So, dang, you're living the big life. You guys got a house? What do you guys got?
We have like an apartment. It's a pretty nice apartment, like right across from Arizona State. So, really nice setup for sure.
That's huge. Have they told you if you're? Oh, things have definitely changed. I love that. That's great. We're trying to figure out how to make ends meet, cramming 6 dudes into a G6 Pontiac G6 with our rental car. It didn't work.
Yeah, that's brutal. That just sounds brutal.
Oh yeah,
I slept on an air mattress on the floor.
Air mattress.
How many people were in the
1, 2. There was 4
place?
of us. One guy. We had 2 bedrooms. The 2 dudes with kids slept in the bedrooms because they had kids coming in and out. And then me and my other roommate, one slept on the couch. I slept on an air mattress on the floor.
I snored, so I got my own room. But we had 6 dudes.
And kids are coming in and out with that many people around? That's just not
We
good.
didn't have the kid. We didn't play the kid game.
You had to play the kid game?
What was I supposed to do? Tell my roommates you can't bring your kids?
Tell them don't have kids until you're out of the Arizona.
No, you tell them to go get a hotel, man.
Dude, they didn't have any money.
They can't afford
They
it
didn't have
back
any
then,
money.
Kratz.
I know. You don't gotta tell me about no money. I was a grinder. Grinder, Vic. Grinder.
Well, no, life's good, and I'm glad the changes have been made.
Yeah, it's
necessary.
for the best. Oh, trust me, it's much better than what it used to be.
What is it, a $14 billion industry? I think we can handle some better living accommodations, right? Yeah. Well, Victor, glad to hear, man. It was awesome getting to chat with you for a little bit. Have fun finishing up there, and we'll talk to you next season.
Most definitely. Thank you all for having me.
Appreciate you. Victor Scott in the Cardinals organization. Super speed. Also, we didn't even get into this, but we can do this when you get to see some highlight reel worthy catches made by him, but his glove is insane. Like, could be the best defensive center fielder in the big someday. He's that level. 70 grade fielding.
That's the one thing I wish I was really good at. For one
Fielding?
day. No, running.
Hitting?
Hitting. I had some good games in hitting. Like I experienced good games. Like the withstanding. Like if I had hit 300 the whole season, I would have been exhausted. I hit 300 for 1 week and my legs were tired. So no, just like one day where you're like, I don't care who it is. Like give me Trey Turner's ability to run. People be like, wow, look at Kratzy. He can really run. I always thought he could run. Nah, man, like the dude had 94 bases.
I actually feel like, I mean, you're in good shape that you'd be able to run decently well, but I guess that's not the case.
I was faster than AJ. That's all.
You ever score from first on a ground ball to third with no errors? Because I have.
You ever
How
bunt?
does that happen?
You ever bunt a 3.99 down to first base?
No, but I got lots of bunt hits.
Yeah, well, you didn't run 3.99 because I have a higher sprint speed. We'll look it up.
Oh my gosh. Sprint speed this.
Did you guys have sprint speed?
No, hell no.
What?
When
We
did
definitely
sprint
had
speed come?
sprint speed.
2018?
2014.
It was that long ago?
2015. I'm just making
When I
sure
was
it's 1 year.
38 years old at that time. I didn't have no
I want to
sprint
know
speed.
38-year-old AJ's sprint speed. That's the sprint speed I'm going with.
I didn't have any sprint speed at 38 years old.
You know that, and that was so
The
we
only
call
one
it
we
the
got.
StatCast era, right? Because that's StatCast was
Right.
tracking sprint speed. There, I wasn't allowed to say StatCast era for a while. That was one of like
Because
the
Brian
words.
Kenny told you no?
I don't give a shit what he says. I was told you can't say StatCast era. It was like some other weird thing. You know how like the beginning of the season we were making fun of how the league didn't want it to be called a pitch clock,
Oh, yeah.
called a
Pitch
pitch
timer.
timer. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the
The
same.
StatCast
Actually, I
era.
listened to an interview recently. Manfred was on, I don't remember what show, but he was on a show and he said they don't want to call it robo-umps. Same thing. But I'm like, I feel like you got to just let the public ride with some things sometimes.
It's like
As much as the trendsetter should be
Augusta
a
National, you can't call it
64-year-old
hazard.
man in a
It's a
suit.
penalty area, and you can't call them fans. You got to call them patrons. There's a whole bunch of my buddies worked a couple of the Masters before, and he's like, you get a whole list of things you have to call all the stuff.
Like for the
Really?
broadcast?
Uh-huh.
They're not fans. They're patrons.
They're patrons. Yeah.
Why?
Because that's how Augusta, and they're like, if you don't do it right, we'll just kick you off and we'll find someone else that'll do it.
That's brutal.
Dang.
Patrons. The patrons.
Patrons.
Masters.
I'd have gotten fired real quick.
State-run media. Yeah, same.
Yeah, but the
I would
thing
have
is, the
been
Masters-
freaking out
The
trying to
Masters
remember
is
all
so
that
big
shit.
and so many people go to it and watch it. Remember the one year where they were like, yeah, we're just not going to do commercials because we don't need them. We'll pay for it ourselves. Remember, it was like commercial free because there was like a sponsored argument, and they were like, "Screw y'all, we'll just do it with ourselves."
That's such a flex.
I mean, they can do whatever. They make so much money off that one golf tournament; it's insane.
Don't they sell jackets and sweaters and shit for like $1 billion?
Yeah, but it's all even. It's all like fairly priced too.
What does that mean? What's fairly?
It's not like they're like they could sell jackets for like $500.
Oh,
Like,
it's not crazy
No,
expensive?
it's not.
No,
I
it's
don't know.
that's the whole
I'm not a
point to
Masters
it.
guy. I haven't been. Not cool
Like
enough.
the pimento cheese sandwiches are like $2, like stuff like that. That's cool.
Mm.
They sell so many that they're that rich.
Yep.
Wow.
If you're a
Scott just-
golfer,
Scott just got sick by you saying pimento cheese sandwich. Like there is nothing in that sandwich that Scott's like, well, I'll just take a little of this out and I just can't have that.
Actually, with dairy, because we're about to bring in Muncy. Do you remember when the Dodgers had that kick going where
No
a lot
dairy?
of the dudes got rid of dairy in their diet?
no,
Do you not remember that?
I don't remember
That was a big thing. I'm telling you, it's real.
The Phillies did that in 2011. Dude, all those dudes were like
Oh, Utley was big on that, right?
gluten-free, dairy-free. Mick Billmeyer, our bullpen catcher.
and they were all not injury free.
They were till 11. They were till 11.
Yeah,
But
then they
Mick-
stopped. Then they stopped this stuff.
That was
Mick-
Utley? Was it Utley that was
Yeah.
leading that charge?
No, it was all of them. Like it was like Raul Ibanez. Doc was into it. Utley was big into it. But our bullpen catcher, real quick, he would go. And then he became bullpen coach Mick Billmeyer. He goes, man, watching Utley eat, it's like he hates his food because he would just like eat like a sweet potato before the game, and he'd sit there. Max might have played with him right at the end of his career, but he'd sit there and eat, and he'd be like.
Well, I wonder why.
And
By the way,
that's-
remind me, Kratz, after we get done with Max, I got to tell you the Billmeyer story from my first day in the major leagues when he was still the bullpen catcher in Anaheim.
I'm writing it down, so we'll get to it, right?
He's-
This needs to be on air.
Yeah,
I'm saying.
This
we'll
needs to
bring
be
it
an
up.
on-air story.
All
Love that.
Our friend is ready. Max Muncy of the LA Dodgers joining us right now. Max has it going, and is any of what we said true with Utley mad at his food and the Dodgers all ditching dairy at one point? I think it was like 4 years ago. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it was 2019. And yeah, Chase was the one who kind of started the majority of that. He came over and he got a bunch of guys to buy in on how it makes your body feel and everything like that. And so probably half the team was doing it.
How'd that go?
I mean, it went pretty well, I think. I think most guys got off of it when 20 happened, and we had, the food situation for that COVID season was not ideal if you were doing that. So most people got off of it during then.
Did you have to wear gloves when you were eating in 2020? This came up the other day from your teammate Lance Lynn.
No, we didn't. But you got like a box lunch, and you had to order it the night before. So before you went to bed, you had to go on, place your order, and it would show up, and it would just be this big box of like mush, pretty much. They did the best they could, but like you didn't get like separate boxes. So let's say you got chicken with potatoes and a vegetable, it would all just be like sitting on top of each other.
It would steam. It would steam itself. It would steam itself in the box. It was brutal.
They would make it. They'd make it off-site, ship it over, and if let's say you were a late show up guy, if you showed up too late, it would just be sitting there for hours, and so it wasn't the best situation for food, but at the same time, nothing was great with anything that happened that year. So
true.
Wait, Max,
well, besides the World Series.
Besides that World Series thing that happened.
I'm talking about the rest of the country in terms of life. It was a rough year.
Yeah. No doubt.
By the way, every time I see JT, I thank him for giving me COVID at Game 6. I really appreciate that. Thanks, JT. I saw him with the Red Sox this year. I'm like, hey, thanks for COVID at Game 6.
What did he say?
He just started laughing. He's like, dude, what are you talking about? But besides the point, I digress. Max, Gabe Kapler wasn't with the Dodgers when you came over, was he? He was already gone?
So when I came over here in 2017, he was the farm director.
See? Have you ever heard the stories about him and his food?
The most common one is he would get like a cheeseburger, take a bite of it to get the flavor, and then spit it out.
He would do that with ice cream. He'd take ice cream, put it in his mouth, and then he'd spit it into a water bottle and say Gabe's body likes the taste of ice cream, but Gabe's body can't handle ice cream.
Did he say it jokingly or dead
No!
serious?
He'd be sitting there and he'd take a bite of ice cream, and then
I'm saying the third person talk.
No, he
That
did
was
not.
real?
No.
Incredible.
Yeah, so I had a lot of great interactions with Gabe. I actually really enjoyed him, but I do remember one time I had kind of just gotten over there, and I walk into the food room, and I heard these stories about how they'd cut out, like they were the healthiest eating team, and I walk in the food room, and it was like the most bland food I'd ever seen in my life, and every single person walked in, looked like, peeked their head around the corner, saw it, walked back out, and ordered food from like DoorDash or something. And Kapler walked in, and he sees it, and he goes, "Oh man, isn't this just the best food you've ever seen?" And just got this gigantic plate and walked off. And I was like, "All right, well, I guess that explains that."
I love Gabe, but I played with him. I played with him since like '96-ish, against him or with him, and he was the first guy. We're in Hawaii, and we get pizza after a game, and we had no money. Team would buy us pizzas, and everyone's like, take the cheese off the pizza. And we're like, what the fuck?
I'm surprised he even had.
We're like, can we have the cheese? Like, can you give us your cheese?
I'm surprised he even had the bread. Honestly,
well, it was either nothing, bread or nothing.
True.
I mean,
right, so anyway,
there's a reason the guy looks how he looks, and that's why.
True. All right, so let's get to the stuff that you're probably not pleased about. Season ends the way you didn't want it to. What are your thoughts now that you have a week to digest what went down? Are there regrets? What was, said at the end there? I'm actually surprised. I know some teams, the guys pack up and they go home. And actually some of the guys, because we've spoken to a couple that have been bounced from the playoffs recently, that said like, no, say with the Blue Jays, like Brandon Belt stood up in the locker room and spoke and said, this could be it for me. And so how did it all go down there?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I've been a part of too many postseason losses like that. And Doc does a great job. He comes in, he gives a speech to everybody, and it's never fun. It's never good. It's not really good to listen to. But Doc does as good a job as he can do with it. He kind of opens up the floor, and he says, if anyone's got anything to say, you can open it up, and Jason Hayward this year, he kind of jumped up, and he was super thankful of all of us and of the front office for assembling the team and all that kind of stuff, and just classic Jason Hayward. And every year there's always a guy that speaks out like that, and it's a very somber situation. My thing is I like to get everyone a bunch of beers, and you don't really need to say anything. It sucks. The season's over. It didn't end how you wanted it to. There's only one team that wins that last game, and you want to be it. And when you're not it, it's kind of a terrible feeling. So I don't feel like too much needs to be said for me. I try to hand out as many beers as I can hand out. It sucks.
Yeah, delivery boy. I love that. That brings everybody's spirits up. All right, how many postseasons have you been to in a row now?
Well, this is my first one was 18. So whatever, the 7 is that 7?
7 in a row. You have one World Series. If I told you you couldn't make the postseason, but 2 times, but you'd have 2 World Series championships now, would you trade it?
Probably. The World Series is the whole reason you play the game. So if you're telling me I could have 2 World Series instead of 1, yeah, I would trade that in a heartbeat.
But the other years, nothing.
I see. I don't know. For me, I'm on these teams that are so great, and we have these great expectations, and we kind of just bomb out. So if you just kind of suck, I feel like that might be an easier way to go out than to have these great expectations and then suck when it counts. I don't know.
2 titles sounds awesome.
2 titles sounds better than 1.
Yeah, for sure.
For real. I mean, I'll give up other playoff experiences to get another one.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, no doubt.
I mean,
Max,
I'm super thankful and blessed to be able to play in the playoffs this many times. But yeah, I'd rather have the World Series.
You can't explain it to anybody that never has been in that situation. How when it hits you that the season's over. Like I can't explain it. You try to explain it to your family, even your family. I think when your kids. My kids were older. We lost in 14 in the ALCS, and my kids were older, and they're like, "Wait, the season's over? Like we don't play tomorrow?" Because my kid was right. So you can't explain it. The finality of it. There's no other job in the world where you're playing every day, and then you wake up one day and it's over, and you're like, "Wait, what happened?" So it's one of the hardest things. And what you said about the emotions, like the emotions are so raw, and it takes you a while because then you, as a player, you sit there and you go, gosh, if I only would have done this, or I would have, and you just go over it in your mind like repeatedly. It's just the worst feeling in the world. I get it.
You start questioning everything. You question, did I get enough sleep? Did I eat the right thing the night before? Did I take too many swings in batting practice? You start questioning every single thing that you happened. But in reality, you're doing the same routine that you did all year. And for us, that got us 100 wins and a division title. So it should have been good enough. But when the postseason is such a, it's so great because it doesn't matter what team you are. It just matters how you're playing. It doesn't matter who you are on paper. If you look at the Braves, I think everyone was thinking the Braves were unstoppable this year, and they kind of got handled pretty easily. And in reality, if there wasn't a couple mistakes, they would have gotten swept as well. So it's just there's not really any way of describing it other than that's what makes baseball so great is any team can really win when you just got to get to the postseason.
And you never think you're going to lose. You never think you're going to even I assume, and you can answer this better than me, going into Game 3 against the Diamondbacks, were you guys what was the mindset for you guys? Were you thinking, all right, well, we're just going to win this first game, and then we're going back home after we win Game 4?
Well, I mean, the mindset that you had to have was you only need to win one game. You can't worry about the games that had already happened. You can't worry about the games that are, ahead of you. You just got to win that one game. That's all that matters. You go into that, you win the one game. But then on the bigger picture, you kind of look at it and you say, hey, these guys are most likely going to do a bullpen game today, right? They're going to have a starter, get them 2-3 innings maybe, and then they're going to go bullpen game. And that plays into us. We win this game. Their bullpen's a little spent. They got to go back to back. That kind of worked in our favor a little bit, and then we get to go back home. You win, and it obviously that's not what happened. But the bigger picture, you look at that and you kind of get excited about it. But in reality, you just got to win that one game, and we couldn't do it.
Yep.
Do you think that something needs to change for an approach on how to enter the postseason, whether that's roster construction, strategy? I mean, you've been there for a while. You definitely have experienced this. You're speaking well to this now. Is there anything, if obviously this isn't your job, but if it was handed to you, you have the keys and they're like, hey, what would you do differently? Because we dominate in the regular season, but we don't want to be labeled as like the 90s Braves where we only get one title out of this whole epic run.
Well, what's funny is we've tried to dig into this a bunch, especially from an offensive side. We've really dug into it about why things are so different for us in the postseason. And, every year we look at the numbers, and there's 12 teams in the postseason now. Last year in terms of like chase rate outside the zone, we were like the first or the second best. And then the two teams that made the World Series were like the first and the second worst at chase rate. So, we start looking into that kind of stuff, and the teams offensively that are making it to the World Series, they're going up there and they're getting their swings off, whereas we're being too disciplined. And that's almost where it seems like, hey, we got to just flip the script and go up there and start hacking. But it's hard to get a team that when your whole thing is grind the pitcher out, get good pitches to hit, get on base. And we're extremely good at doing all of that. It's not like it just happens every once in a while. It's hard to get a team like that to not do that when the games count.
Max,
No. Oh, sorry.
Max, are you at Dodger Stadium?
Yeah, I am. I went in this morning, got a workout in, getting my locker cleaned out to send all my stuff home. The usual end of the season stuff.
God, I was gonna say, man, you're grinding. If you're already working out, you're already back banging, watching your videotapes. That's impressive.
That's who you want.
I know, except I was the opposite, but that's fine.
No, we're in the weight room. We're not in the cage right now. You got to give the body a little bit of rest from the swing. You spend 8 months swinging, your obliques are really tired. You got to give just a little bit of rest. You can study film if you want, but you got to have a little bit of rest before you start swinging the bat again.
Makes sense. Did you guys obviously played Arizona, lost Arizona? Freddie and Mookie did not have a great series. Did you see anything different from the way Arizona pitched them, or was it just bad luck and bad timing?
Arizona definitely pitched differently. I can say that. Bad timing, probably. I don't necessarily know as much as bad luck. We hit a couple of balls hard, but we didn't really do a great job with that. So I can't really say bad luck. But game one, Merrill Kelly comes out throwing 96, 97 miles an hour, whereas our last 3-4 times we'd faced him, he was 91, 92. And he was dotting everything. It was his stuff was super sharp. And on top of that, he was throwing, 80% heater or whatever the number was. And that's definitely something that hadn't happened before. Now, again, that could be circumstance of just them having 7 runs right out of the gate, or that could have been on purpose that was their game plan, knowing that they hadn't done that against us. So it's just, they definitely had a different pitching plan against us. And but I don't know if that was by design or just circumstance of the game. Hey, you got a big lead. We got to get some strikes in there, keep it rolling. Merrill Kelly was definitely throwing harder, and then Zach Gallen was Zach Gallen. There's nothing much to say about that.
He's the standard guy every time. How about did you go up to Clayton Kershaw and say anything after that outing, or did you see other guys go up to him and say anything?
I mean, you just kind of go up and tap him on the butt, and there's not really much you can say about that. It's he is who he is. He knows what happened, and he knows he's going to bounce back. But what am I going to say that's going to make him feel any better? I don't know.
I feel like there's some people that are like, oh, he's hurting so much, like this could be it. I feel like there's no chance of that. I mean, you know him better, and you're not going to speak for him, but you're allowed to guess. I mean, don't you think that he's still coming back? I mean, yeah, sure, he had a bad playoff start. His stuff was down. His regular season numbers were in the mid-2s in his ERA. I think any team would trade for those stats for a regular season run like that.
Yeah, it's tough for me to speak on. I'll say this: if he feels like he can still go out there and compete, he's probably going to compete. If he feels like he can't get it done, then that might be it. But I don't know where he's feeling. I definitely feel like he can still get it done, and I know there's a lot of people out there that still feel like he can get it done. So that's obviously his decision to make.
What about now? It's time.
Yeah, we're going to ask you the hardest question you're going to have to answer. Have you thought about Shohei Ohtani being in your lineup next year?
No.
That's such a lie, because after it's kind of creeped in there a little bit. You're like, man, I might not hit 4th now. I might have to go to 6 next year.
Yeah. Imagine how many fastballs you'll get at 6.
No, that thought will definitely creep in at some point. It hasn't gotten there yet. Still, it's still. I think I think it's because we're still in LA and we haven't gone back home yet. It's still kind of like, oh, the season's not really over, even though it is over. You know, you guys know how it is when you get to that time of year, you're kind of like, oh man, and you know, you're talking about with your kids. You know, my daughter every day, she's like, hey, it's time for the ball game, and they're like, no, we're not doing that anymore. You know, daddy lost. We don't get to play anymore. So, you know, it's a tough time. So I feel like because we're still in LA, you don't really feel like that. But I know there'll come a time when it's like, all right, what's next year going to be like? Who's going to be there? And you'll definitely start thinking about Shohei at that point.
Will you be scoreboard watching like we talk about during the season when teams are in a playoff run? Are you going to be like locked in more than ever on news, rumors, the whole deal to see who's coming? I also think in general, the Dodgers are going to make some moves this offseason, might need some pitching. Obviously, there's some guys that are free agents, whatever. But Shohei and anyone else, are you going to be like, yo, Rosenthal, what do you got?
No, when it happens, it happens. You know, that's something that I can't control. And so if I can't control it, I'm not going to worry about it. You know, if it does get to that point, I might just call Andrew directly and be like, hey, what's going on, man? What are we doing here? You know, it's
a good phone number to have. Call the GM president and be like, hey, yo, Andrew, you need me to make a recruiting pitch or what? You know, because, you know, I speak Japanese. I can fly to Japan and talk to Shohei if you need me to. It's not a bad thing to have in your back pocket.
They did that, though, for the last Ohtani sweepstakes before we even knew that he was going to be this good in the big leagues. Teams did some pretty heavy recruiting pitches. Because nowadays, I feel like, you guys tell me, it used to be more of a thing. There's a lot of guys I've spoken to who have said, like, free agent process sucks. A lot of teams call with the same offers, and they tell me how many flaws I have. And it's like, actually, you should be putting my name on the scoreboard, bringing in some former players or vets or something, and making me want to come here. Do you guys feel like that's true?
Yeah, if you're Shohei Ohtani, if you're Max Muncy, if you're Aaron Judge, but if you're AJ Pierzynski and Erik Kratz, guess what you get? You get the other version of it, and you're like, just happy a team called.
Mm-hmm. They're calling to tell you about your sprint speed at 38?
Yes, no, they're not doing that. Max, will you watch the games? Have you watched the games?
We sit down at night and we watch the games. It's tough for me, but I also love baseball. I'm kind of a baseball junkie, so getting to watch some playoff games, you know, it's not really. I mean, there's only one thing really better than watching the game, that's playing the game. But since I don't get that option anymore because we didn't do our job, you know, I'm going to enjoy them the best I can.
Do you root for a team, or do you root against like the Diamondbacks because they're in your division?
I think there's only really one team out there we're rooting against, and I don't need to say it. You guys know it.
The Diamond. No way.
No.
The Astros?
No.
I know.
Come on.
I played for the Giants. I get it.
Last one from me. Definitely wanted to get your take on Bryce Harper versus Orlando Arcia versus the media. And did you like how Bryce reacted to that? But also, I think this is important on this show because we bring on writers too. We've voiced how we feel. We've got the mix too, right? Like these dudes are kind of obviously former player, but also they know the media life. I mean, you've been around the clubhouse for a long time and in the playoffs. If you yelled something out over and over and there's tons of people in there, isn't that fair game?
Yeah. You know, so that's the thing is in the postseason, there's really only media availability after the game. You know, if they want you before the game, you usually go to like the interview room or something like that. And it's not like it's just your usual beat writers in there. You know, for us in LA, we have a lot, obviously, but you know, instead of having, let's just throw some numbers out there. Instead of having your normal 10 writers, you're going to have close to 50, maybe 60 writers in there. Media, bloggers, YouTubers, local networks. They're all going to be in there that they're not in there during the regular season. So if you are going to say something, especially in the postseason, you got to be careful about that. You know, I also understand, and I also completely agree that the locker room is our space and we should be able to say what we want in there. But when you have all those guys in there, they're going to, if they hear something, they're going to put it out there. Yeah, it's just, and on top of that, you also have 30 minutes before the media gets in there. Why are you still saying it at that point? it's that to me was where I was kind of like, hey, you have 30 minutes to celebrate with your team before the media is even in there. So if you're still saying something, you're kind of beating a dead horse at that point.
I agree. He knew. Listen, and we just talked about it with Jace Peterson. The media, your media person comes to you and says, the media is coming in 2 minutes, guys. Get dressed. They're going to be in here for 15 minutes. Get out what you need to get out. Boom, the doors are open. They're like, okay, we're opening the doors to the media. Everyone shut up. Turn the music off. And then everyone comes in, and everyone does their little boop, 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 and then they walk out. So if you said it when they're in there, you knew what you were doing.
Yeah, I mean, and I also agree. The clubhouse is our space. We should be able to say what we want in there. But in this instance, just for me personally, in this instance, like I already said, they have a certain amount of time that they're in there after the game, and it's like 30 minutes after the game ends. 25, 30 minutes after the game ends. And like you said, they announce it. Like for us, if we win a game, we have the lights off, we have the music going, we have the strobe lights in there. When the media comes in, all that shuts off, the lights turn on, the music's off, so immediately, oh, okay, we got to be careful now. Like it, So if you were still saying it, you were trying to get it out there.
Right, exactly. And my thing is, I mean, to say, oh, now, if you're, say, a player in Atlanta, like Darno's like, oh, now we're going to be careful or might not want to talk to media. I'm like, I mean, the part that bothers me, I'm not even talking about the media side. My number one thought process is our game should be publicized more, cooler, more access, whatever. This is a way to do that. Like if we don't have players talking to media, sure, we can say, oh, players just have their own social media. That's not how it works. And players don't want to go on their own social media all day and be like, go live on their own social. Hey guys, here's my post-game report. I wasn't good today. Like that's ridiculous. Like I'm just trying to figure out I don't think there needs to be a solution, but what does, if a player's on the other side of this argument, because there are some, what do they want? Like some players like, oh, we shouldn't, have to talk. Like, well, plenty don't. I mean, I've been in there many times and some guys just disappear for that 30-minute period.
Yeah, man, it is an easy solution. You just you go in there and you're getting treatment done, or you're eating your food, or you just don't be in that area. And now this is all post game that I'm talking about, especially in the playoffs. Pre-game, that's a different story. I could be convinced the other way for sure. There's nothing. There's nothing like when you're in the clubhouse trying to hang out with the guys and, the media's in there for 30 minutes to an hour just staring at you, not saying anything. That's a different story. But the post game, they're in and out pretty quick. So, that's two different stories for me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one thing I will say, because we had Jace Peterson on just before we were talking about this, because he was like, I think the media should be in there for less time. And I actually liked your negotiation back. Cool. So for the postseason, instead of like 30 minutes, we can make it 15-ish if everyone is standing at their locker. Because I promise, sure, are there maybe a few people lurking or whatever, but for the most part, people are standing in there. They're waiting for the right guys to talk to. And once they talk to them, they're good. I mean, I've been in there plenty of times where they're like, okay, these were the 5 key players in that game. Once they all spoke, if they came out, they're good. Usually they're waiting for like one dude that doesn't come. And so they're just standing there like idiots.
Dude, nothing's more awkward for me.
I fucking hate it too.
Listen, as a former player,
stand in there,
and I stand in there and I'm like, this is the weirdest thing for me. Like, and because with Fox, I've told this story, we get 15 minutes just us. So it's just me and whoever Adam Amin and our producer. And I'm standing in the clubhouse. And I think last year in San Diego, we had you guys, and Doc was late for his meeting with us, his manager meeting. And he was like, and we're just standing in the clubhouse. And I'm like, I need to go somewhere because these guys are all playing Golden Tee, right? And I'm just like, where can I go hide? And
sometimes they let you go in the office to wait.
Yeah, but Doc was in the office, so there was nowhere for me to go. And San Diego's clubhouse is small. So I can't go in the training room and I can't go in the food room. And there's like one little hallway you can go in, and Doc's office at the end. You're standing in the locker room. And you're just like, okay, this fucking sucks, dude. Like, how do I get out of here? And I'm not even there to talk to anybody, but we can't walk out because if we walk out, Doc might come out and say, hey, I want you guys right now. So it's like, it's the most awkward time. And even like this year, we're in the Astros clubhouse or the Twins clubhouse, and I'm standing there and I'm like, all right, is this time up yet? Like, I need to get the fuck out of here. Like, this is so weird. Try not to look at the TVs. Try not to like look at anybody, what they're doing.
AJ's a meat gazer.
No,
Dude, there was one manager,
Yeah, I would say it is a little awkward, especially if like hey, talk to someone after the game. You get upstairs a little late. You get in the shower. You come back. You're in your towel, and there's 30 media people around your locker waiting for you, and so you got to sneak through them, and then you got to get changed while they're all staring at you. It's a little weird sometimes.
That's AJ's favorite part.
And they also,
why do you think I played for so long, Kratzy?
Yep.
But they want to speed up the process too, where they're like, yo, you get shower change, whatever, especially in the playoffs. Like, you want to get home, you talk to the media for a few minutes, and then you leave for the most part, right?
Yeah.
Probably have a game the next day.
Max is out there passing beers out. I don't think he's just passing beers out on the losses. If you're a guy that goes and gets beers, you're passing them out. They take a little bit of time to.
He's done that before.
Yeah.
No, on wins, we're doing tequila.
Oh,
let's go.
Tequila makes your clothes fall off.
I like that.
Jeez, what's up with you and the clothes falling off?
It's a song.
Yeah, on the wins, we're doing tequila. But you gotta. That was something we started this year, and Miggy Rowe brought it over, and I really loved it because he came from a team that hadn't won a whole lot, and I've obviously been here for a long time, and we're used to winning, and for him, he brought up the idea that hey, you gotta celebrate the wins.
Yep.
Winning in this game is really hard. You got to celebrate your wins. You can't just go. You obviously want to act like it's hey, you've been there, done that. But at the same time, like, winning in this game is really hard, so you want to celebrate it. And so he came up with that idea, and it kind of really took off for us because when he brought up the idea, we weren't playing that great. This was like late May, maybe. We were kind of right at 500, not playing real great. And then after we had that idea, we kind of just took off. We started playing really well, and we started. That's when we started having a whole lot of fun. Yeah, you got to celebrate the wins. You got to celebrate the good things in this game because it's hard to accomplish them.
No, I love that. I know the Rays did that this year too. Remember, Brandon Lau told us they would do it differently. They would have like a player of the game would have to rip a shot in front of the team or something. I love that stuff.
Whatever brings you guys together.
Yeah, that's fun. That's fun. Well, Max, appreciate the time, man. Obviously, not just now, but the entire season. It's been really fun chatting with you. Obviously, we'll chat at times during the off season too. So enjoy some fam time, and we'll catch you again soon.
All right, guys. Sounds good.
Get on that honeydew list. I know it's long.
Cheers, man. We'll talk to you soon.
His wife Kelly's like, here's the
Tell
baby.
everyone what
Here's the new baby.
List is.
The honeydew list is he had a baby during the year.
Honeydew this.
And and his wife is like, oh, by the way, I've been watching this baby you've been playing here. Then they just hand it to you and go, your turn.
Okay, and he'll say,
she gone. Road trip.
Fun.
Yep.
Let's watch some video together.
Let's go to Dodger Stadium and get a pump on, get a little swinging on.
Baby can hang just right next to him.
That's right.
By the way, the one other thing I want to say with the clubhouse stuff, because I remembered this too, like what you were saying. There's one manager, I'm not going to name him now, who would work out intensely before games and be late to his manager meeting every single time. And I probably had him 8 times in my career, maybe more. And so we knew we'd have to be down there, and you'd have to wait usually at least 30 minutes. So I'd bring my work.
Why are you talking
down.
about Gabe Kapler like that?
That's very much. Very
Gabe
much
was
not
actually
Gabe.
great. Gabe was great.
It was great. Gabe was great. One of my favorites actually for those situations.
Talking to people and putting himself out there.
He was an open book.
He was.
There was one dude though. He'd make you wait for a long ass time every single time, coming in sweaty as fuck. And I would bring like extra work down and find a spot, like not in the clubhouse, but I would know. Like I'd ask. They'd usually let us sit in his office because he wasn't in there. So anyway, that's that.
Tito Francona. Thank you. I got it.
Boom. There it is.
Now I'm just trying to think who the heck this would be, but
when I say it, you'll get it. Let's slap.
I think I have a guess.
Not him? Really? You're gonna go. When I tell you after. When I tell you after, you're gonna go.
I've never had a see. I'm confused because I've never had a manager make me wait.
Oh man!
Did I get it? Did I get it right?
Was
Kratz
mean
right?
one.
Am I right?
Nope.
See, I've never had a manager
when
that
it
was
happened.
late.
Just was consistent. So
Bruce Bochy.
People are guessing.
He
it there,
definitely
too.
know.
Don't say every damn name.
Got
We'll get to it. We'll talk it out after the show. Nope, everyone's still wrong. That's guessing in our chat and the regular chat.
Mark's
guys are gonna be
guess
surprised.
is hilarious to me.
I'm telling you. Yeah, his is funny. All right, let's run our giveaway shout out because we have the winner. If you were snoozing this weekend, then you missed out on a Justin Turner signed jersey. And we teamed up with our friends at Baseballer to do the giveaway. It was a very simple ask where you just follow both and like the post. And the winner of the Justin Turner signed jersey is Carson Bennick.
Bennick?
Is it a silent?
The
N?
J is silent. Yogging.
Carson Bennick, who looks like he plays too.
He
So
doesn't look very old Carson.
congrats, Carson. You won a Justin Turner signed jersey. Signed his jersey, and we're giving it out. So someone will reach out from the social team. We'll get your information. We'll send it out. I love doing giveaways. It's awesome.
We gotta get a couple more followers there because I think the kids call it ratio. You can't be following more people than you follow that follow you. We need Carson to get more
A lot
followers.
of follows.
That is definitely something kids would be concerned about.
It's a ratio.
And eventually they realize life's short. We shouldn't worry about that.
Mhm.
Facts.
But anyway, you got something for us?
For my slap hands, I just want to say congratulations and a happy anniversary to the 2005 White Sox, because on this day we kicked the Angels' ass with 4 straight complete games. And you will never, ever see that happen again. At the time, we were the only team to ever accomplish this in a playoff series. In 5 games, I think our relievers threw 2/3 of an inning. And you'll never see this happen again. It'll never happen again in the history of the world. 4 complete games in a row, 4 wins in a row.
Oh, that is incredible.
And
You're
so
right.
one of the best, coolest things I've ever been a part of, Burley, Contreras, Freddie Garcia, John Garland. Not in that order, but
I have an important
those
question.
are the 4.
This is something that would be so you. How many times did you go up to relievers during that time period and be like, you were fucking great, man? What a performance.
Well, the only guy that threw was Neil Kotz. So I'm like, Neil, dude, you kicked ass this series. Bobby Jenks, Justin Hermanson.
Did you go up to those guys, though?
I was like, you guys
Bobby
were
and
great
Dustin?
this week.
Good job,
You guys had a great week off. So think about that. All the stuff about time off. Those dudes swept the ALDS at the time because there was no wild card before. Everyone on Twitter goes, well, there was no wild card back then. Shut up. ALDS swept 3 games, right? So they pitched, most of them pitched in game 3, or when we swept the Red Sox. Then we had like 3 or 4 days off, and then 5 games with a day off, and then we went 5 more days. So they went like 2 weeks.
Relievers didn't pitch for like 2 weeks.
And we swept the Astros. So
That's crazy.
Save the drama about
Can't
the
believe
rest.
they got all the rust off of their arms and shoulders and elbows.
Dude, we
So
had
much
some
dust.
good inter squads though. It was great.
That's what it's about. Kratz hats?
AJ was calling good games. That's what was missed in that whole story there. AJ was calling every right pitch.
Well, that and the guys went like 115 pitches, like stuff like that.
Oh, how could they do that? Blue Jays, spring training hat. Can't believe I keep finding all these Blue Jays hats that are way at the bottom of my bag.
Nothing beats that one Blue Jays hat that had the freaking, like, what is that? Like the rope around?
Oh, that was my round
American
1987 round robin hat. That wasn't even
No,
American Legion.
there was a Blue Jays one that had the lining that was super weird. I promise you. It was the gray one.
Oh, that one was brutal. But they kept
I think
changing
that's the
hats.
worst hat I saw.
I still got a couple more minor league spring training ones that are coming up here.
Hey, everyone watching FT right now, we appreciate you. And if you want more of us, we are hustling for you this evening. We are watching both LCS games, and we're doing post-game shows live right here on FT's YouTube. You'll get a notification, but right when the game ends, maybe even a drop before it, we'll pop on and we'll recap the ALCS, which is the early game, and then the NLCS with instant reaction, thoughts, and your questions, because we never stop hustling. So enjoy those games. We'll see you afterward.
Every day we're hustling. Every day we're hustling.